A priest.
The
Yeah,
nation.
Oh shit! You guys ready to go? You guys got
I
the
did.
candles lit?
Yep.
We're live.
Man, why does Brance always sound like such shit in Discord?
He does sound like ass.
Really?
You always sound like crackly in Discord.
Well, that's because I probably switched my thing over. Hold on.
I don't have a lighter for my candle.
No,
I got my candle going.
I'm in the right thing. It says I do whatever.
Sounds like shit.
Test. Yeah, I don't know.
I got a Vetiver Woods lit.
Not bad.
I have a fall festival.
Wow.
What is fall festival?
Spices and soft musk.
You realize it's December.
Yeah, but it's lovely.
Did you get on discount because it's December now?
No, I got it back before Thanksgiving, and the fucker's still going.
I got a warm Luxe Cashmere.
Wow. I got the Cashmere Plum going in the bathroom
It's
at the
very
moment.
much like the Snuggly Sweater set from Target.
That one's good.
Very good.
Insane name. Completely insane name.
Why? Because it's just like about nothing?
I mean, a sweater can smell all kinds of different ways.
I've smelled some bad sweaters.
That's what I'm saying.
They want to assume that you're a clean person or you hang around clean people.
Well,
so
that's
if it's your
just
sweater
assuming
or
too much.
it's not. They're assuming their
Even if
customers
you're
are
a clean
quality.
person, your sweater at the end of the day, it's going to smell a little weird, even if you're the cleanest person in the world.
Joel,
even if you're as clean as Elon Musk, his sweater is still going to
if you're snuggling, you're not going to be wearing your stink sweater.
Wait, snuggly sweater doesn't mean that you are currently snuggling.
I think
it's a snuggly sweater.
I think it's supposed to be like evocative of like what you might smell if you were like in your house and you were cozy in a sweater. Right? That's what they're going for, right?
Yeah, they're not going to be like stink ass BO guy sweater.
Also, who said stinky sweater? Nuts. Is that like a thing that you just have like a go-to stinky sweater?
I never said that. I said all sweaters have the potential to be very stinky,
I know
even if they are snuggly sweaters.
You could make that argument about any piece of clothing, though.
Well, then I don't think that you should base a smell off of that. Then, you know, when the smell is so
shut
variable.
up.
I think you're really, you know, you could also say that some cherries or some peaches smell like shit because they're rotted, and then you have a peach candle, and you'd be like, "You're really you're really just like nitpicking here."
I'm not, because if you say cherry,
you're platonic
version. I'm not. The platonic version of a cherry is gonna smell good, or a pear, or whatever, right?
Most of the time, my clothes smell good and they're clean.
But platonic version of a sweater can smell like whatever. The smell is just completely not a part of that.
No, they're assuming that assuming that you wash your clothes regularly and that you're wearing a nice clean sweater and it's warm and snuggly.
I think the snuggliness is beyond the smell also, completely detached, removed.
I think you're making the complete wrong complaint about.
Well, here's also you
don't interrupt me when I'm talking about candles. See, the thing is with this is that you're making it sound like sweaters could smell bad. And that's not the right thing. The thing is that, like, what does a nice smelling sweater smell like? Because they never explain, and this doesn't smell like that.
Does it say nice smelling sweater? It says snuggly sweater, which just means it's woolly. It's nice and woolly.
Well, mine
I've had sweaters that smell
cashmere, and I don't know what Luxe what
they're going for. They're going for that kind of fresh linen type smell that you get from some fabric softeners when you wash and dry your clothing.
Listen, I like the scent. I think it smells good. I think it's poorly named and poorly.
It doesn't. It smells like fresh washed clothes because you use the fabric softener. It smells like a fabric softener.
This one does not smell like fabric softener, though.
Okay, well, you're comparing it to the snuggly sweater. I don't know what that one smells like. I'm thinking of the snuggly sweater.
I wish when you leaned over to smell candles, you got a whole bunch of like soot in your face, like you do a fire.
You know what I do when I lean over? When I lean over and smell candles, I hold my nose.
Yeah.
I will say this one from Target, Vetiver Woods, is one of the best candles. I bought it like 3 times now.
Time to look up what vetiver means. Ew, it's an essential oil, which I don't know what are essential oils.
If you don't have them, if you don't have them, you'll die immediately.
We need them in this pandemic.
So why are we smelling them all the time?
Me and Joel are essential. Me and Joel are essential oils. They come from our body. I
call myself essential Joel, but that's just me.
Oh, geez, that's a stretch even for you, Joel. All right, what are we doing here today? I don't know. Okie can't make it, so we're putting a hold on the campaign because
Why am I here? What am I going to talk about?
You talk about D&D.
I'm too dumb. I'm
too
dumb for this stuff.
You've played enough D&D. You should know what's going on.
Me no no.
Joel, what are you drinking?
Joel, what time is the draft on Tuesday?
6 or 7.
Fuck. I think we're going to be recording at the time.
We
might have.
I think we could do it before.
I think Joel. Because I got to work the night before.
Yeah, I mean, you could do an auto draft, and it's just going to take the best players available.
I'm not going to do that. That's boring.
All right, then play the draft.
I'm going to play the draft. I can record a podcast.
Okay, let's do the draft, and we'll record. We'll see if we can record after. But I don't know when Felix can record, so that's the issue. I know what time.
Who cares? We'll figure it out. This is the lowest stakes ever. I don't know what you're worried about. The stakes couldn't be lower.
I'm drinking a original lemonade Truly.
I gotta pull my necklace out. There we go.
I'm drinking this.
A Bang my.
That is aggressive.
It's so good.
Is it?
I love cola flavored.
What's
Miami Cola? Woo! I love cola flavored stuff, and Miami Cola is where it's at. I love how they just throw Miami in there. They're like, check out these cool colors. It's Miami Cola. It's bang.
So is it just soda?
No, it's an
energy drink. It's not even cola.
So you just like
it's cola flavored, stupid.
I'm drinking an A&W root beer, A&W zero sugar root beer.
This is also zero sugar. It tastes great.
I don't need any sugar because I'm sweet enough as it is.
Mine says that you shouldn't ask so many questions about what's in this drink.
Oh, what? Truly? It's mostly water, so it's like good for you.
It says there's a lot of shit in here that you don't need to know about.
Like what?
Chlorine, Vaseline.
It's got Vaseline in it?
Vaseline? Whoa, you can jack off with that Truly.
Happy Juice.
Shut up, Joel.
Gluten.
Joel, I'm going to have a beer in a little bit. Should I use this mug to drink out of it, or should I use my wine glass?
Show me the wine glass.
Yeah, let's see that wine glass.
I like drinking beers out of wine glasses. It's fun.
Yeah, me too. Fuck. It's like dusty.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Just the little character.
I got this from my last clinical nursing school for my instructor. She gave us all these big wine glasses.
A little dust never hurt anyone.
That's true.
It's good for you. I was given this a year ago. Literally this day. I just realized.
How do you know that?
Because I graduated a year ago.
Yeah, how do you remember the date you graduated?
I don't think that's...
Yeah, stupid!
I don't think that's super strange.
Why is that weird? Like, oh, I'm fucking done on this date. I'm done on this date.
I mean, I don't remember the date I
This
graduated.
is like... Okay, so every time you get in a conversation with Joel, this is how every conversation starts. Like, when you first come... It's a pat down. He is giving you a pat down.
I'll be right back.
The first 20 minutes of interacting with Joel is him just giving you a narrative pat down where he's going to just pick something and he's just going to go. And then when he gets his fill, then he'll be fine.
To be fair, I get a lot nicer after that.
Yeah. But it's definitely like, the scrutiny of Joel comes in hard. So usually, if you want to prepare to hang out with Joel, you have to think of some stuff ahead of time to complain to him about him. And that way you can have a little back and forth and it's all on an even playing field. Otherwise, Joel's going to walk right over you.
Another way you can handle it is if you get me a gift, it'll distract me.
Like what kind of gift?
I don't know. If you buy me a nice beer, maybe a nice bottle of wine or a candle.
Oh, yeah. Joel's very polite when you get him gifts.
Maybe if you take a nice like a blanket or a towel and warm it up in the microwave, And then bring it to me and present it to me?
Like on a first-class flight or something?
No, just at my house.
Like in your microwave?
No, hopefully you've warmed it up elsewhere before.
What if it'll get cold by the time, unless they live close?
You got to be creative.
I think a good way to get Joel would be have a towel that's far too hot and give it to him.
Oh man, that'd have to be a hot towel. I don't have a cat's tongue like you, nor do I have a cat's body like you.
Really?
I like it hot, baby.
I guarantee there is a towel hot enough to make you uncomfortable.
How hot could that be? It'd just be on fire.
It's gonna sear you. It's gonna be it's a wet hot towel, so it's like boiling water.
Oh god, yeah, that's just rude. Also, I don't want a wet towel at all. That's just a shitty gift.
Then why'd you?
I said like a hot towel.
Like it came out of the driver. I was thinking of like a hot towel in terms of like the first class airplane.
No. I'm sorry. I'm not thinking a hand towel or one you put across your face. I'm not. I mean, yeah, I'll take that, but I'm saying like just like a nice warm towel out of the dryer to wrap around my shoulders after a long day at work.
You've never done that.
No, but it would sound nice if somebody came over and insisted that I do that, and that was their gift they're giving me. They're not getting the pat down from me then.
I don't know. That'd be a lot. That'd be a lot.
Yeah, one of those pizza delivery, the things like with all the space stuff in there. You can carry hot towels in there.
Oh yeah, that's my brother. Hey Nick, what's up?
It's a good idea.
What what are we waiting for?
Should we tell them what we're doing tonight? Andrew doesn't need to be here.
Should we just keep arguing? Is that what people want to see? They just want to like honestly, we could just keep arguing.
Hey guys, I have an idea really quick.
What?
Remember before that one stream when we were thinking of new girls?
You might have to remember
before that ep of D&D, we were thinking of new girls. Then Lizzie.
Oh, Summer
Lizzie,
Shandy. Yeah.
Summer Shandy.
Nightshade.
Nightshade. I just thought of a head cheerleader, also named Summer, but her name is Summer Salt.
See, that doesn't sound like
that doesn't sound. That's
cheerleader.
That's a B.
She sounds like the president. Sounds like a president of FFA at best.
It's a B-.
Because she does somersault. Stupid.
Oh.
Yeah, that one. I was focusing more on the.
That's some Pippi Longstocking shit.
Salty.
Yeah, I give that a B- still.
Well, help me think of new girls.
We're not here to think of new girls. We're supposed to talk about D&D subclasses.
Summer Shandy. What a dream.
All right, I'll give you.
All
right, we'll do 3 minutes. We'll do 3 minutes on new.
No, let's each do a girl and then we can move on.
Hold on, let me.
Somersault loves a mark. That's right. Now I'm on board. I'm really on board with Somersault.
Let me put on my watch so I can check it periodically and sigh.
All right, I got one.
Okay.
So her name is Candy Kane. CANDY KANE.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
What's her deal?
She's an arts girl. She's not very good at artist, but she's really good at arts and crafts. So she's really good at cutting stuff out of construction paper and gluing it in place.
So she makes like toothpick and popsicle stick sculptures, but she's not really like an art hoe.
So she's like an adult or a child?
She's still I think these are all like adolescents, right?
I don't know.
No. Is that legal?
Let me check that. I don't know.
I mean, those drawings, they look a little bit older than that, Joel.
22, 23?
They're college freshmen.
They're
they're all college freshmen.
Where they're
do you know what her favorite colors are? Do you know what Candy Cane's favorite colors are?
What are they?
They're red and white.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Cause she's a big Cardinals fan, huh?
Yeah. Cardinals, Bulls, Miami Heat, Rockets, Portland Trailblazers.
Oh yeah, she's
Minnesota Cardinals.
There's this girl named Mala. Her last name is Mars.
Ooh, Mala Mars.
Dude, Mala Mars is a smoke show.
Go on. What's she about?
Yeah. All right. So tell us a little bit more about Mal Mars. We got about 2 minutes left on this.
Mal Mars. Well, isn't Malamar actually a Pokemon too?
Yeah, it is. I just caught Malamar last night. It ruled.
So I don't know. Some gross joke about being full of white stuff.
Ooh.
Oh, come on. Hey!
Oh,
come on!
Oh.
I'm trying to talk about D&D, and this guy's talking about cream pies and stuff.
Oh, hey.
Hey, come
on! I totally forgot about that joke in the YA fiction one, and someone brought it up.
Oh,
in the Discord. Say,
I'm trying to eat my dinner right now.
Insanely incredible erotic cream pie sex. It's very erotic.
It's very erotic.
It's very sensual cream pie.
Describing sex in words is insanely funny. No writer has ever written a good sex scene because they just I can't say he stuck his dick in her pussy.
You're already starting with the worst verb ever. Stuck.
He stuffed it.
She was stuck like a pig.
Do you want to see what I'm eating for dinner?
What is it?
This is a blueberry
inside of a raspberry. Yeah.
It looks like a little baby wrapped up in a bundle.
Mm-hmm.
Little blueberry baby.
This is what elves eat.
The best description of sex in any writing stuff is when they call a woman's vagina her delicateness or the man's maleness.
Yeah, I like when the Salman Rushdie called it his club.
I mean, George R. R. Martin is notorious for writing bad sex scenes, but it's none of them are good.
No, there's no good sex scenes. Nobody should write.
Well, I mean, he wrote stuff like Pink Mast, which is pretty cool. And he wrote Her Mound a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of mounds. Any
mounds bars.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like mounds and a lot of South American fiction. It's a lot of mounds, a lot of incest too.
Oh yeah, you like to talk about the South American incest a lot,
dude. It's not on me. That's 100. Every Love in the Time of Cholera, 1,000 Years of Solitude, everything Allende ever did. It's fucking full of incest.
There you go, Joel.
Ooh, nice.
Branson, you got to come up with a girl.
No, I don't. I don't have to do anything. All right. Let's see. All right. Well, you guys got to talk about something else where I come up with a girl. Then, if that's the request for.
All right, Andrew, can you give me that little? Can you give that a little swirl? And can you check the legs on that beer for me?
How do I check the legs?
Oh, you know how to check the legs?
You never taught me.
Well, you have to come down here.
This is the learning experience. You can tell me right now.
You gotta come down here. So you take the glass, you swirl it around. You might have too much in there, and you
I probably do.
You gotta hold it up to the light, and you gotta squint and scrunch your face like that, and you're seeing if there's any alcohol running down the sides.
All right, I came up with a guy instead. Is that okay?
That's fine. Close enough.
All right, his name
is. Did you show Joel the aerator?
Oh fuck.
Yeah. Elliot showed me.
I showed it to Elliot, and Elliot showed him. How do you feel about that aerator? Let me find that aerator.
Elliot came up to me. He said, Joel, take a look at this. Check this out.
All right, let's see. Let's find that.
I can't see any legs, Joel. It's all beer.
That means it's good.
There's the aerator that I found for Joel.
Oh man. Okay, so they also make a version where it's a glass, right?
It's a glass in a glass, and then it shits out. It pisses out all this wine, and it's all aerated. If I came over to your house and I saw you pouring wine into that, I'd get so upset. Well, no, I would love it, but I would pretend to be upset.
You would pretend to get upset, and then it would be the best thing that happened to you.
My mind would be on fire. When they when they show they have all the electrodes hooked up to an ape's head and they show him a banana and his brain goes fucking nuts. That's exactly what would happen to my brain, but I'd pretend to hate it. And Joel
when I first
would know that I was pretending, but he would still argue with me like I wasn't.
I'd be literally walking on air. I'd be floating above everyone else, just levitating at that point.
When I saw Joel first use that ginormous decanter he has, he's going like this with it.
Swirling that puppy around.
All right, the guy I made up, his name is Douglas Fur.
Guy?
He only wears flannel, and he smells very good, but he's very brooding and moody.
Can I propose what his favorite class in high school was?
Yeah. Oh, I think I know.
Woodworking.
Yes.
Woodshop. Yep.
Woodshop. Dude, is that what you're gonna say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, let's get
to dating. Is he dating any of the girls? Like,
well, he has a thing for candy cane.
We had Summer Shandy.
We're getting very close to like fan fiction, like original character fan fiction. Like we're just now we're getting very close to
These
having.
Are all OCs. These are all
not
OCs.
even fan fiction. It's just
having an MS Paint diagram of. Okay, well, Summer Shandy used to date Douglas Fir, but now she's dating Summer Salt, and Douglas.
Branson, I legit want us to write a script about these characters. By the way,
I'm not doing.
Riverdale.
You can do that. You can do that if you want.
If I bring this to Charles, he will 100% be in.
Yeah, that's Charles.
But Charles is really busy. He's really busy.
Shut the fuck
up. Yeah. All right.
Branson is too.
I'm not busy.
Mr. I'm all gummied out. Woo!
Dude, I'm high all the time. I'm not high today, though.
You pulled yourself together.
Uh-huh. Because I know I'm working. I'm at work right now.
You consider this work? Okay.
Move along to D&D.
All right. So, we're going over Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. I was going to write all the shit so it just didn't look like I was blatantly just looking up shit that all these websites get taken down within like 2 months, but whatever, I don't care. I'm not going to write down all the shit that happened, so I'm just going to copy it through a legal website. So we're just going to go over all of the new subclass options. We're going to briefly go over, because me and Joel, we did the thing with Oki where we talked about like the new race options a little bit right before they announced what they would be. And you want to go over those real quick, Joel?
The new race options?
Yeah, which is basically do whatever you want.
Yeah, I guess like I don't mind it. I think it's fine.
I don't mind it either.
My thing is like I felt like that's already been there. Like one of the rules in D&D, like early at any of the books, is just like if you don't like rules, change it. So you can just do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not arguing for like, ancestries have to be limited where like all orcs are stupid or not. But like if you want to play a smart orc, you can. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like just do it.
Yeah. And
if you want to complain and moan that you didn't get a +2 bonus in your intelligence at the beginning of the game, it's like, well, I'm sorry, like you that's kind of the fun of it. You went against the grain of the normal like perceived notion in terms of like Euro fantasy bullshit. And you made a smart orc. That's cool. That makes them even better.
Yeah.
And more rare. And now I just feel like it's kind of like, it's just almost too simple. It's becoming so, and I'll probably bring up Taco Bell multiple times. It's becoming a lot more like Taco Bell. I'll definitely bring that up with the
What does that mean?
Barbarian. So Taco Bell is awesome, right? Like, but my drummer said this the other day. He's like, I'll never get upset about someone getting my order wrong at Taco Bell because it's just the same thing reorganized in different ways.
Yeah.
So it's the same ingredients, just sort of like twisted around, and maybe it's in a tortilla this time instead of being in I don't know, like a hard shell or whatever.
Well, I think
a lot of Mexican food where it's all tortillas.
Well, but you know what I mean with like Taco Bell in particular. Like, it's clearly the same shit, right? And like D&D can get like that where you're just taking something from another class, you're just sort of reorganizing it with each other a little bit. I feel like that about some of these classes, and some of them I don't. But
the thing with the race options is that I do like the idea of still tying in. All you really need to be viable is have like a +1, and that's nothing, right? But
yeah,
the reason they did all this stuff is just purely for Adventurers League, because Adventurers League, we say most people have changed whatever and whatnot before, but I think we always forget that a huge chunk of people play Adventurers League, and almost every single one of these like changes, alternate class things are meant for primarily Adventurers League. And the more you see people funnel into like D&D Beyond and stuff like that, I think this stuff matters more. But it's not like you're patching, a video game, because you can just make up whatever shit you want.
Yeah.
The shit with proficiencies gets a little annoying to me where you can like swap out proficiencies, because then that to me that enables the worst type of D&D player, which is just like, okay, well, I have to give myself a proficiency for medium armor so that I can play a wizard, and then you get into weird min-maxing shit that's just like exhausting. And part of the reason people didn't want to play like orc wizards is because you fall behind people. And now you've created this thing where you've almost created like another ascension to, with these rules, you can make your characters more powerful than you did before.
That's another point to it is I know that me and you both feel weirdly about min-maxing. Like, I think it's fun to build strong characters, but I think if that's your sole goal, I think that's sort of lame.
Yeah.
And I don't mind Adventures League. Like, people can do that. That's cool. I guess, like, what it comes down to is they should probably just do it the way that Pathfinder does it. And I hope that comes up in, like, 6e or whatever, which is, like, you have ancestry. And more importantly than ancestry is you have background. Like, it doesn't really matter what your humanoid DNA is, unless you do have some, like, innate connection to the Fae or whatever. But what really matters is, like, were you a blacksmith? Okay, then you're pretty fucking good with weapons. Like, that's what I would say.
The backgrounds are super unimportant right now. Like, you basically pick skill proficiencies or whatever, but even in the player's handbook, it says you pick 2 skills, you can make up your own shit. But if they gave background something more important than, like, okay, if you're a noble, you can see the king. Because even that shit is up to DM, like, discretion anyway. You know, it's not like you're automatically going to get the audience with the fucking king because you have like a noble background. So that's where it gets like a little weird to me, because the backgrounds have nothing really. Like, you choose 2 skills and you're usually trying to pick something interesting.
What's even crazy about that is 5e brought backgrounds back, from what I understand, and actually gave them even more power than they originally had, like, or more importance than they originally had. So, like, the fact that they're there at all is cool, but they just haven't gone far enough with it yet. And I think they're figuring it out. Like, I'm not one of those people who like wants to trash Wizards like too much, because I think obviously I like their product. I play it all the time. So
the other biggest change I've noticed in a lot of new development stuff, but you can see a lot in Tasha's, is that alignment for player characters is basically out the window. You know, they used to have specific items for different alignments, and they still do to some degree, but it is very much like that whole element of it has been smoothed out, where it used to be like one of the most important things you picked about your character.
And I feel weirdly about alignment anyways. I go with the very, very like awkward hug, like side hug, with alignment being like, oh, use it as a place to start and then go from there when you're figuring out your character. But I do like it being in the background lore of, like, especially if you're playing in like Faerun or Forgotten Realms, like, I like it being there in terms of the mythology of it. I think that's cool. Like, I think that devils being lawful evil and demons being chaotic evil, I think that's fun.
I love that shit.
Yeah, I love it.
Demon war shit is like one of my favorite pieces of lore. Yeah. In any game. People go crazy over like mind flayers and shit like that, but God, I like demons.
The thing I like about the alignment is seeing how much it can change in someone.
Yeah.
Look at our characters in Oki's Pain.
Yeah.
Like,
I tried to make chaotic good and it ended up like basically neutral evil.
Yeah, you were you were fucking neutral. You were hard evil by the end there, man.
I think you called me chaotic rude, which I thought was really good.
Well, that was before you just started blasting random people with your eyes.
They should have listened to me.
That's true.
I kept Fritz pretty neutral, I felt like, but
yeah, I think so.
But I think I'm usually like the mediator between our characters anyway.
Yeah, a lot of guys in the chat are like Fabulous Johnson's talking about AL, and the biggest reason I see for it is like people meeting new players. I was considering doing an AL league when I first came to Jersey, except the closest one was a 45-minute drive, which is a little hard to a little much for D&D. Do we want to get started to go over the first guy in line, the Artificer?
Yeah, let's do it. I don't know if we need to go through every subclass unless we absolutely like want to.
Yeah, we'll be really brief on some of them. Like, I know somebody said I didn't put Alchemist on the list. That's because I don't think Alchemist is in Tasha's.
It's kind of crazy he made D&D instead of doing Tasha 0.0 now.
Oh wait, no, an alchemist is in there. Anyway, we'll go over the alchemist, but I've never played an artificer, and I've never played with an artificer.
I've played all through Waterdeep, Dragon Heist. Jesse was an artificer.
What is your general thoughts of playing with one?
So he played it when it was still UA, but it's largely unchanged, save for a few things. That I think they kind of nerfed it a little bit in some ways.
Yeah.
Which I didn't feel like he was ever like completely OP. I like it because I think that you should always just have another way to use intelligence rather than just being a wizard.
Yeah, I do too.
That right there is good. Also, they're very malleable, where you can do a lot of different things. So like the way that he used it was he was kind of like a ranged. He built guns for people, and he was like a technology guy. I think he was the artillerist.
Yeah.
So he could set up like cannons somewhere, and then also shoot with his gun on the side. So I thought it was like a cool way of melding spellcasting.
They're like an engineer.
Yeah. Like a builder.
Well, there's a couple different subclasses, and like the alchemist is obviously not like an engineer. It's basically, it focuses on like production kind of tool proficiency kind of stuff, or the initial idea of it is. I think in the end, what you essentially get is like a hybrid class that leans towards magic. So like somewhere past the paladin and the ranger, where it leans a little. I think that's what it's supposed to do. I think with the infusions and with like the armor, they become like a genuine melee class. Like they get a lot.
Or more like you can be melee, but like a genuine like martial class.
You look at the
like
armorer. That. The armorer is insanely overpowered to me. Like you will get so many AC bonuses, you get so much in your, if you build towards it in your infusions, you're just good at everything.
So we were worried about that when we were playing it, because you can infuse a lot of different things, and he did, and it didn't really ever get that crazy. You can only do so many things at a time. It's basically like kind of you don't get nearly as many spell slots or spell levels as a wizard.
Yeah, you're still a hybrid class.
Yeah, so you're very much limited in that. Like you're not a pure caster, which is, I think that's important. So like I didn't think that it was that bad, because you're also not that great at like base level attacking. So I actually thought it was pretty well balanced, and the highest spell level you can get is 5th anyway, because like you said, it's a hybrid. So
yeah,
I think it's pretty well done.
I think the thing is that the infusions have a lot of static bonuses, which a lot of classes don't get a lot of, like passive bonuses. If you look at like a lot of the warlock invocations, like honestly, barely any of those are passive bonuses. If they are, they're for role-playing reasons and stuff like that. Whereas I feel like if you look at the artificer, it's almost kind of built for combat a little bit. Like you have the out of combat production stuff, but even that's not that well defined, and is up to the DM, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, one thing that I liked about how, and you played with Jesse, and he's good at play, like he's a good player. He made it to where the guy didn't believe in magic. He like was literally like a science guy. So he would go to other wizards and be like, I can explain all this through logic, you know? So it got rid of like sort of, he had to find material components for his stuff, you know?
They have an amazing spell list. Holy shit. Yeah. Artificers they don't miss on anything.
The one I don't like is this is just a personal taste, is the Battlesmith, where you're like literally building robots. It's very Eberron, and it's like,
yeah,
man, if someone came in to me and like you're playing like, I don't know, just in a basic high level or low level fantasy, and you're like, oh, I build robots, I'd be like, God damn it. Like,
well, a lot of people, they're mostly nerds, but on like the Reddit D&D thing, a lot of people were like very, very annoyed that the armor very hard leans into like being Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like really hard.
Yeah. It's not the worst thing in the world. I just think it's fun.
I also wish they would stop tiptoeing around like firearms, where they just say optional DM rule. Like they say that 4 times every time they mention like the potential of a firearm. And because of that, we don't even have good rules for it if we do want to do it.
I think that with firearms, like it does open up a lot of other kind of sticky areas, like where okay, if you have firearms, why don't you have cannons? Why don't you have bombs? Why don't you have large explosions? Like if you have gunpowder, that leads to a lot of other issues. So they just kind of soft touch it, you know.
Yeah, but
I mean, I feel you, but I get why. We just use crossbows. We just say, okay, it's a hand crossbow.
yeah.
It's a gun.
Yeah, that's what you should do. Because the DM's guide actually has like weapons, and like if you want to have guns in your game, and there's an anti-material rifle that's like 4d8, and it's like this is fucking stupid. Why would you have that?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't think they've ever done it well. If they do want to do it, just make it a crossbow or something would be easier.
Yeah.
And if you want to have an interesting mechanic with like reloading and shit like that, fine. But
dual wielding 6-shooters.
Yeah, like Matt Mercer made the gunslinger subclass.
I played that. It sucked.
Yeah, because it uses fucking wisdom.
Yeah, it sucked.
Why?
I don't fucking know.
Why wouldn't it use Dex?
He gives you a weird resource called like grit points that's based on your wisdom.
I think that was based off of a Pathfinder class because he was converting one of his players from Pathfinder to 5e.
But Matt Mercer's really bad at subclasses, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can describe what the material on a couch looks like for 5 minutes.
Oh yeah,
Pathfinder had really good gun rules, and I think the reason Pathfinder can do that is it is really crunchy. It's really, really, really crunchy in terms of the amount of like numbers and details it has, which is a blessing and a curse, I think. And so, yeah, I think it probably does have better rules. He did change some things from Pathfinder, and it ended up being like, okay, maybe that's why I didn't like it. It was slow and boring.
Yeah, and I don't know. Anytime you're easy, like a lot of the times when people make subclasses, and I think Wizards of the Coast does this too. They think about like, okay, at level 7 you get this, this, and this. Or even in a lot of like the cleric domains and stuff like that, you don't get anything interesting sometimes. Especially it's like a rogue, you don't get anything interesting in your subclass to like level 9 or 7. So I think it's just, I think because of that, like Matt Mercer designs almost subclasses based towards like level 15 characters, which is just like the wrong way to do it in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I don't know. I think Joel, me and you talked about this. That D&D is generally fun pre-level 10 versus post-level 10.
Yeah, we haven't played above there too much, but I think that's where it hits its best stride, personally.
Yeah. Because it's really hard to die at a certain point. Like, unless you're fighting like a boss that has a certain ability where you cannot be raised from the dead. It's kind of hard to die.
I think back to Artificer though, I think it's cool also because I forgot to mention this. I'm not sure if all the subclasses get it. I imagine they do, but you get an extra attack at level 5. So
with Artificer, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's cool that they managed to make it make sense where you're an intelligence class that could also get an extra attack. They didn't just make like another magic user. So I actually really like Artificer.
Yeah, and even then you could build towards cantrips too if you want.
Yeah. Definitely. And I don't even mind the magic. Someone said they're very similar, like invocations, sort of like with Warlock, and it's really customizable. So I haven't heard anyone say that they're overly broken.
I really like RPG Bot. I think they do like really good analysis of like D&D subclasses and looking through every ability and comparing them. And they say Artificer there's 2 classes that they say is the strongest class, in the best position after Tasha's. And they say Artificer, and you want to guess the other one, Joel?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Fighter?
No, Andrew, you want to guess? What do you think is the strongest subclass or strongest class in D&D? Like
after Tasha's.
Out of everything?
Yeah.
Say a class. Just say it.
Sorcerer or Rogue?
They say Bard.
Oh, I should have known that. Yeah.
Yeah, they say Bard is insanely strong, especially since that guy. When we go over the Bard subclasses, he was absolutely fucking in love with some of the Bard subclasses. But
I should have said that. I think that's true across most books, especially with PHB. I'd say the Bard is like very, very, very powerful.
Yeah, I can't think of like a weak Bard subclass because they also have so much built into their kit.
Yeah. It doesn't count Fritz. The way we set up Fritz had potential to be insanely powerful at times.
Yeah.
Insanely not powerful at times.
Well, he had like 15 health at like level 6. That was his thing.
Yeah.
But like his spells, like how I'd roll for spells every session was really cool.
Yeah.
And I'd keep Fireball.
Uh-oh.
What just happened? You all right, Joel?
Uh-oh.
What do you keep saying uh-oh for?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Somebody check on Joel.
Blink 3 times if you're okay.
I see...
He just shuts his eyes.
I see a reflection of Elliot holding a gun in Joel's glasses.
No, I'm good.
Igor betrayal.
All right, so...
you know, like that feeling when like the entire ground falls from beneath you and the ceiling shoots upward and your walls collapse and there's just nothing around you for miles?
Maybe you should have a nice drink of wine, Joel.
Truly.
Truly wine. That's what it's called.
I think the cool thing about making an artificer is that you can really make whatever you want in regards to like a poison person doing engineering stuff. If you want to be like even like somebody who analyzes magic and as a magician, you can really do whatever you want with the artificer class. And it's really not, it doesn't have that many weaknesses. The worst subclass is the one we'll go over first, which everyone says alchemy is the worst subclass. They did not change it because they gave you that little goblin. Wait, do they not have the little goblin anymore? The homunculus? Oh, no, they took away the homunculus goblin. That was the only one I remembered.
I see it right here.
Yeah.
No, they still have it.
No, the homunculus is now an infusion. So in the original Eberron edition of the Artificer, basically you had the Battlesmith and the Alchemist. So you either got a turret or a homunculus. And that's why people were really pretty frosty on the Artificer originally. It looks like they have done some does in this one. Now, they get a great class list or spell list, I feel like. Generally speaking, artificers do. But the alchemist still, if you look on RPG Bot, says it's a little bit underwhelming. I imagine the big thing will be your 3rd level spell, the experimental elixir, which I haven't played with any alchemists. Has anybody actually played the alchemist out there in the chat? If you do, let me know what you've kind of seen from it. But from what I get, you don't get a lot of the defensive stuff the armorer gets, and you don't get a lot of offensive stuff the battlesmith gets, so it's kind of an in-between class. But still, thematically, if you're looking to build like a cool character, an alchemist is one of the best. It has the most narrative ammo with it.
I'd be really frustrated with the experimental elixir. Like, you have to roll every time.
That's that Feywild
cool.
shit.
It's cool, but it's like, man, after a certain point, if I'm hitting level 15, I still don't know what I'm making. Like, it lends itself well for like a mad scientist character, but it's like, dude, come on. I can't tell. But I mean, it is really neat. All this stuff is really cool.
They've kind of pulled away from that. I'm surprised they went back into it because like for a while they wanted people to roll a lot. Oh my god, it's my biggest complaint about like the soul knife and the Psy Warrior shit coming up is the fucking you're just gonna be rolling all fucking day.
I'm DMing for a soul knife right now.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that when we get to it. Let's keep this moving. Alchemist is, from what I've read, a little underwhelming. Seems to be a little bit more support based. But narrative wise, I think it's one of the cooler classes you could probably make. All right, let's go to Iron Man.
All right, is Armorer the Iron Man one? Not Battlesmith. Okay.
The Armorer. The big thing with this one is your defensive powers go up, and in melee, what you do matters a lot more. Now, they used to have this built around Shocking Grasp, the cantrip, which I don't think they have that set as anymore. Oh, no, the Thunder Gauntlets. That's the...
is that what they get, basically?
Yeah, because from what I've read, nearly everybody goes the Guardian. The Guardian's way powerful than the Infiltrator of the two armor models you can pick. And it really makes you pretty reliably tanky.
Yeah, you're going to be DMing for one of those when we do our thing.
Oh, really? Who's doing an armorer?
Jesse.
Cool. Hey, wait, he just played an Artificer. He wants to go right back?
Well, we decided some of us are revisiting characters that we want to revisit. So I'm revisiting my first character. He's revisiting his second or third character.
Oh, Jolcrian?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to name him that?
Jolcrian Shefaradel.
Oh, man. But yeah, armor is so they mixed in the extra attack to the subclasses instead, which I think is a good idea. They redid the Blade Singer too later on, which is going to be really annoying, I think, to play. Like, it's made better now. It's stronger now versus you don't just go in and get smoked immediately. But yeah, it looks like armor does a lot of the same stuff. I almost never read like the level 15 what you get stuff because it's so fucking far away. It's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's asking if you can dual wield Thunder Gauntlets. I'd imagine that it's just the basic rule of like offhanded wheeling where you're like not going to get your
bonus action.
Yeah, you're doing a bonus action attack. You're still attacking, but like you're not going to do your proficiency bonus.
Yeah, and I don't think you should. Dual wielding sucks in 5e, point blank. The only people that can make it work are, I think, the knight themed rangers. Rangers can get it just because of Hunter's Mark, but you have to be a ranger that doesn't have a bonus action damage component that only can strike once. So like Monster Hunter, I think people were saying was always viable for dual wielding, and the Umbral Stalker one are really good for it. Yeah, but if you attack with your bonus action, do 1d8 damage without any modifier added to it. And even then, once you hit, right? Oh, I guess you could do it if you want to give disadvantage, but I'm sure that the Artificer has a shitload of bonus actions that would be way more.
Yeah, that's the thing. You would probably use your bonus action for something else, but it's cool that you could. I mean, if you wanted to, and it could be kind of fun to do as like a role-playing thing.
As a new player, I think the biggest thing to like learn is action economy. Oh, thank you. Because you have an action, you got a bonus action and a reaction. The best classes, the best players are always going to be able to optimize that on any given turn. And ideally, in an ideal world, you're most efficient when you're using all three. That can be really hard to figure out because reaction basically is something that relies on some input to do. But early on, clerics are insanely strong because they have a bonus action they can do every single turn. That's why like people always think low-level clerics are OP. Yeah, I couldn't remember Jickbug if it was named Gloomstalker or Umbral Stalker or whatever, because there's so many subclasses now that's hard to keep them track.
Should we move on to Artillerist?
Real quick, Orion's. So a lot of rogues dual wield just because if you hit with your bonus action attack, and if you miss with your attack, you can bonus action attack and still get your sneak attack damage. Rogue is all about optimizing sneak attack, so that's why a lot of rogues do it. But if they hit that first attack, they never attack again because it's not worth it, you know? Even if you're hitting a 1d4 dagger, you still get your, whatever d6 sneak attack.
That and you can only get sneak attack once per turn.
Yeah.
So if you hit it once, like, and you want to do a bonus action attack, you're going to attack again, but you're not going to get the sneak attack, so there's no point to really do it. But it just does give you a very high opportunity.
I've seen people talk about like you can get a sneak attack on your reaction technically, but
that'd be a weird situation.
That seems, but it also seems really min-maxy and just something I would generally avoid.
Yeah, I don't know when you would really get that like an opportunity attack where you're going to get a sneak attack. I guess if you're a swashbuckler, you could.
Yeah, but you'd have to have your, I guess, DM comply with all that. So if you're going to try to build specifically for that, you're probably a weirdo. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go on to Battlesmith. Now, you said Jesse played a Battlesmith, right? Or let's go to the Artillerist first.
No, he played an Artillerist, which, again, that was a UA one.
Yeah.
And the idea was like, he basically just used, and again, they changed this one the most, I think.
Well, I can tell it's a decent subclass because it gets Fireball. Anybody that gets Fireball in the game is good.
Although he gets it a lot later than most other classes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Level 9. But still, the most efficient spell in the game, the best spell in the game by far. And it's built that way on purpose because it's supposed to be, like, iconic.
Yeah, they changed this one the most, I think, from what I remember. Because, like, you know what, maybe he was a Battlesmith now that I look at it. I'm not really sure. Because this looks very new to me.
Well, he had the magical cannon. That's why I thought he was... Wait.
That's what I thought they did, but it didn't really do this kind of stuff. Like, his could move around and stuff.
Is the Artillerist different from the Battlesmith? Nope, Battlesmith is there. They get a cannon.
Yep. They both get cannon type of things.
So
I think
how are they different?
Well, the Artillerist, again, is like more about making firearms that are like Eldritch cannons that are like blasting, where the other one's more about building stuff. Like,
no, Battlesmiths are they're the gun guys. That's what it is.
Do you see when it says when you create the cannon, you determine what its appearance and if it has legs? Oh, does that thing have legs? My cannon's a big wine bottle with a cork.
My cannon has sexy woman legs.
Yeah, with fishnet.
Yeah,
and like red high heels.
Wait. Can we combine those two ideas where it's a wine bottle that shoots corks with sexy female legs coming out of it like a spider?
Man, that's really annoying.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I love it.
Imagine bringing that to a Adventurers League table, Joel.
I mean, I think that, again, like, a lot of people, and I hate to critique, like, D&D nerds too much, but, like, they'd probably think that shit's cool.
Yeah.
You know, like,
do you think
because it's creative and unique?
I still, whenever I think about, like, the average D&D player, I think about the first characters we made, where it was a table of, 7 of us, and 4 of the characters were orphans.
Yeah.
Orphans are fucking...
My village burned down.
They're overrepresented in fantasy.
For good reason, though.
Yeah.
It's a clean slate.
Yeah, it's a clean slate. You don't have to like worry about
it. It allows them to have some mystery behind their background.
Yeah.
Because the players are setting themselves up to be the son of a god. That's what they're hoping for.
Oh, is that what it is?
Isn't that exactly what Oki did?
Oh, yeah. Wait, was Oki's guy an orphan?
No, but he was the son of a god.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Artillerist, I think it's back to that. I think that's the gun one. That's where you're creating cannons.
Yeah, and it has different types of cannons, but I think everyone's just going to go for the offensive option one.
Yeah.
Because it's the coolest, and it does the best. This looks like a lot of zone control stuff. Like, very much zone control. They have very much shied away from a lot of zone control type classes in 5e. Specifically because I don't think they want to keep stuff moving. They don't want people to like dig in, and that's the whole thing. Which narratively it could be fun, but like they used to have they had a big UA they reworked twice that was like a Sentinel Ranger, that the whole thing was like area control, right? You go into like Sentinel mode, your melee range like triples, and then you can like hold down an area. You got temporary HP. They really haven't done a lot of that, and this is really kind of the first way. And I'm glad they did it because it gives this class a unique angle.
I think it's kind of hard to do it though too, unless you are building like literal cannons that still have like range capability, because like it's hard as a DM if you see someone set something up like that. Are you just gonna run your enemies into it and just send them into the fucking slaughterhouse, and just watch them just get destroyed? Whereas at least if you have cannons, like, okay, you're setting up like this perimeter and they can shoot at you and they might charge, then you're creating more like a battle line type of feel versus like other zone control type of things, which is like, it's hard to deal with, like, okay, as a DM, like, cool, they're going to leave and then come back with more,
Yeah. It's cool to have dumb enemies. Like, this is why having a good mix... I really don't like DMs that are, like, aiming to, like, kick the party's ass or outsmart the party with, like, strategy. Like, it's good for some characters to do that. But every once in a while, just have some dumb, strong guys. And just have them do the wrong thing strategically.
What if the party deserves to get their ass kicked, though? Like, not even in terms of, like, they made a bad decision. They're all just a bunch of twerps who deserve to get their asses beat.
Yeah. And let them get their asses beat. Shit.
God, I would love for a character to set up his cannon and take forever and everything. He has to use the worm, the rammer, and the sponge for all of it. or a character has, like, he's like a doughboy from World War I. He's like setting up this mortar, like him and his like plugging his ears when he launches it, like a little gnome doughboy.
Just Brandon, can you bring up a picture of the sponge, the worm, and the rammer?
Sure. Oh wait, I gotta. All right, so what's that for, Joel?
Well, we came up with nicknames for each other. It's the sponge, the worm, and the rammer.
Joel's obviously the worm.
Branson's the sponge, and Andrew's our finisher.
Is the rammer the closer?
Yeah.
So what's the opener?
Well, the worm is there to get all the crap out from before, I think.
Yeah, that's for, like, getting all that... Getting what kind of crap out?
The sponge...
You send in the worm. People say send in the worm, but then you put out that guy. He'd be a rogue. Ooh, I'm going to make a rogue called the worm.
Ooh, good Rodman aesthetic.
He's got a little... He's got, like, a tongue that he flicks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
But he's very good looking and very charming.
Oh, yeah.
He's just the worm.
What is his facial hair like?
Not good. Patchy at best.
I would imagine that it's like a Three Musketeers type of goatee, like a mustache and the pointy.
Yeah, that could work.
All right, so let's go to the. We got the Battlesmith pulled up, and this is your gun guy. Now, it's not going to be like a purist type gun guy because you're still basically going to be like a hybrid caster, but you do get a big ass gun. You get to choose what it looks like. And
are you sure about that? Where do you see this stuff about the gun?
I thought it was okay. So your Steel Defender. Wait, it's like a sentient gun?
It's no, it's like it's a construct. You're making like a robot.
Oh, that's the Battlesmith? Why are all the pictures?
I don't know why you're looking at pictures. Is that how you read books?
Yeah.
You write books.
This was the Battlesmith. He got a gun. He's smiling.
No, that's the artillerist.
Ah, shit, that is the artillerist. That's why I thought I was a gun guy.
No, you kept on saying that. I kept on correcting you. This is the third time.
I'm not listening. I don't know if you're correcting me or just trying to be a demon.
This is why you're
supposed
to be the sponge. You're supposed to be the sponge.
And you're worming me. I know it's in your nature.
I'm the worm.
Both of you need to shut up and focus on the class.
I'm focusing.
This is why he's the rammer.
All right, so the Steel Defender is like a little robot then, right?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty big robot.
Oh, it's a Gundam in my mind.
Oh,
I think it actually can be a Gundam. Like, I think that is what they're kind of going for. Too.
I think the armorer is supposed to be the.
I'm thinking of like the stands in JoJo. That's what I imagine the constructs look like.
Yeah, because it's giant, more of like something.
Jacked, like...
It's more of something that you can send. It's apparently your bonus action is to control it. So it's like a good pet class. It's like what the Beastmaster should have been. Which they rework the Beastmaster like beast stuff in here, which I don't know if anyone's played it.
I'm playing it.
Is that what you're going to go? The Beastmaster?
Yep.
All right.
You know what my pet's name is?
What? Is it Tuvia?
What?
Is that what you said? You cut out.
It's just Tuvia.
Yeah, so you're just making yourself in D&D.
He loves to make himself in D&D.
He does love to make
the most boring.
So do I, though. Every character I've ever made has like really long toenails.
Also, Branson's playing Cyberpunk. He's like, oh, my guy's just a big guy who's nice and punches everything. I'm like, wow.
I haven't killed anybody yet in Cyberpunk so far.
You haven't killed anyone in real life either.
I'm just knocking people out
Branson,
all over the block.
Do you know what my build is?
What?
All right, so I'm like a street samurai type of character. I like half sneak and I'll knock people out. But my main thing lately is I snipe a few guys off, and then I rush him with just a knife and cut everyone in the throat.
my favorite thing to
I'm
do.
a sniper guy with a knife. That's all I do.
My favorite thing to do in Cyberpunk is to drive up to a crime in progress, get out of my car, start wailing on everybody with my fist.
Oh yeah.
And then getting back in my car and driving away.
Oh, I love to just roll up with my knife, and I immediately they're all shooting me, and I run up and just like start just like slicing everything up I can, and I always win. And they're like, "Oh, here's some money for doing that job for me." And it's like the cops like, "Oh, thanks." I'm like, "Hey, no problem. I like to cut people."
And then even then, looking at through a lot of the Battlesmith's abilities, a lot of it is support oriented.
Yeah,
it's just you get the big goon. That
well, the thing about these classes that seems like is like they're almost like chess characters. Like the stuff they plan is like for two turns ahead something's gonna happen. Like they're looking like way ahead, which is kind of cool. Because then once it comes to fruition, and then like everything comes out and plays out, and like your construct, your cannon, whatever, just fucking destroys something. You're like, fuck yeah, it worked out exactly how I wanted.
Yeah, it's kind of like how you
completely whiff, and it's like funny.
Can I be honest about the Battlesmith?
Yeah.
Here, my main complaint would be like, your robot Steel Defender is gonna get all the glory, and that would drive me up the wall if I was a player, man. Like anytime they do something cool, like it's on them, not you. And like literally everything you do has to revolve around that. And if you want to be, I don't know, like an inventor, I guess it's kind of cool. I would just be so far out of my element if I had to role play this.
Yeah. Oh shit!
Ugh.
All right, let's go do the.
I think what you'd have to do is theme your construct Joel, and you would love it.
That's a good idea.
Like your character is not you, but your construct is you.
Yeah, that's better.
We talked about the infusions a little bit. I'm gonna skip over a lot of the infusions because a lot of them are passive bonuses. It seems a lot less creative than the Warlock invocations are, and even adding a lot of them seem almost built towards specific subclasses almost, and it gets a little boring. So I'm gonna skip ahead to Barbarian. How the hell do you? Yeah, give me that.
Do you make like a barbarian? I don't have the knowledge about D&D like you guys have. Could you make like a barbarian or like a fighter who has like a giant poison axe, like it cuts through people and then like poisons everything around it?
You'd have to get an item for that. Even then, a lot of the poison stuff and a lot of the tool proficiency stuff is up to the DM.
Poison stuff is actually kind of lame. Like from what you're saying, Andrew, like it just does extra damage rather than like damage over time.
I just well, like maybe not necessarily poison, but I'm just like thinking of like more weird, like kind of themed like fighters, because like I like barbarians and fighters and everything, but like the idea that my giant fucking like two-hander does this weird area of effect that isn't just like a thundery type of shit. It's like no, it sends out this like radiant or or light or whatever. Like it just kind of like trying to be more creative with it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think that a cool way to do that would be if tool. I think that falls more on people as DMs rather than on wizards. Is like you can use tools. You can get like it's called a poisoner's kit, right?
Yeah.
And then you could just make poison and then just constantly
like a barbarian, like a guy who dunks his giant mace in poison and whacks people with it. It's really funny. Yeah, like it's just dripping this purple or green gunk all the time.
Yeah,
that'd be sweet.
Orion brings up a good point that a lot of the stuff I don't think they build towards or like make a subclass even themed around, because poison has a lot of damage immunities. Like unless you're fighting like humanoids, and even then, like halflings, dwarves have like poison resistance. I think it's just like they haven't really delved into it too much on purpose because it would require them to change a couple other systems around, right?
Can I give my 2 cents on both the barbarian classes from this?
Yeah.
These are my least favorite subclasses, I think, of everything else in Tasha's.
I despise the Path of Wild Magic, but I think Path of the Beast is cool. Let's go ahead. Everybody knows how Barbarian works. Now, I will say there are some changes to the optional class rules that are present in Tasha's. With the barbarian, I really think it's like you swap out very few things. Like, you get more skills, primal knowledge if you want to swap that out with, I believe, danger sense or something. I'm trying to think. I believe it's like the one that gives you advantage on dexterity saving throws. I think you can swap that out for more skills. And then the other one you're allowed to change out is your 7th level feature to give you yourself a bonus action to gives you more speed. Doesn't really do anything. I think they wanted to have options for every class, but let's be honest, the optional class features are there for the ranger. It's not really that dramatic otherwise. I believe the clerics get a good optional rule thing too, and that's basically because most channel divinities are fucking awful. I think they get.
Yeah, I think they did that for clerics. Rangers obviously was the big one, but then also fighting styles is big for a lot of martial classes.
Yeah,
and then more battle master stuff just to add more to it. So
I'm glad they added more interesting fighting styles. We can get to that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Path of the Beast is the werewolf one. You become...
Doesn't it just feel like they're just like, let's make a barbarian druid, and that was it? It's Taco Bell.
I don't really get that, because this one at least has some kind of interesting... I would say that this class would not play like any other class. Because there's, even within the class, I like it with that within a class, there's multiple ways to build it, right? Particularly the bite ability, which gives you a little bit of health recovery as your melee attack constantly, like consistent health recovery as long as you're being offensive. It's less, important than, like, it'll do less damage than other stuff will. It's a good, decent trade-off that could make for an interesting build. And then the claws are made for essentially dual wielding. You're able to get more attacks in, which is going to optimize your rage. And the tail, which they've changed like 3 times from UA on this, basically gives you more defense. It's for like a tanky barbarian. So even within the class, you get a decent mix of builds.
If I did play this, I would go tail every time, and I'd have a gross scorpion tail come from my ass, just freaking everyone out.
Yeah, the rest of you looks the same.
It's just a big scorpion tail, and I'm just swinging it around.
I'd have a big beaver tail that slaps people in the face.
Jickbog.
You just go up to the nearest water.
I'll look up the sorcerer optional rules once we get there, because I'm not familiar with any. I believe it's just a lot of shuffling around of sorcerer points. But
they probably added more meta magic.
Probably. Yeah, I'm happy with that too, because a lot of the meta magics are pretty boring.
Yeah, there's only like 3 good ones.
And then even like this one just makes you more of our barbarian. Like, you're just more off the leash. You get better movement. You get better jumps. You start getting the Infectious Fury one is kind of weird because you can either do damage or confuse people. There's a lot of kind of weirder stuff there. But overall, I do think the Path of the Beast is a cool subclass, and it's it could make cool characters. It changes up the rage other than, like, I'm mad, So
that's what the barbarian is. That's just cool.
Yeah. And then the one, I think we all hate this one, right? I know you hate it, the Path of Wild Magic, and I know I hate it. I don't know what Andrew feels about it. But this is the fucking Wild Surge shit that I hate. I have read people say... Yeah, go ahead.
The Wild Magic Sorcerer is really cool. Andrew, I like how you and Oki like reworked it to up the ante a lot on that. But this one just takes that already not well-designed concept and then gives it to a barbarian because they're like... the reasoning for it just even makes me confused.
I like it for the sorcerer. I don't like it for this.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool idea, but it's just like, so you're just sort of... When you attack, sometimes magic happens for no reason.
Well, it's when you rage, it just, like, comes out of you. Which, like, I'm okay with, like... introducing magical elements into non-caster classes. I'm fine with that thematically. There's enough weird shit to explain. It's already like...
But this one has this like preset list of 8. Like the way Oki did it was like out of 100.
Yeah.
that he like rework it that way, and it'll be fun. But this is just it's like 1 through 8, and I don't think it's.
It sounds like somebody who wants to have a very, very chaotic character and just see
it's
what
not
happens.
as chaotic enough.
And
yeah,
honestly,
you're gonna be bored. Yeah.
But there's no stakes. Some of these are just useless. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also Oki saying "fucked" me a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Which is fun about it. They're like, oh, it could fuck me. It could fuck the whole party.
There's no point in having this much randomness when it like is just reliably okay, and most of the time just underwhelming. Like having this chance that something crazy could happen, and every time something milquetoast, something boring happens.
Like, can you imagine if you just rage and then like, oh, you're surrounded by multicolored protective lights and you gave a +1 bonus to AC.
So here's the thing: the reason that this class sucks is it's just not ballsy enough. It's too safe.
Yeah, and even then,
it's way too safe.
Their 6th level ability, they're able to just help other people. Which, if I'm a barbarian is me. I do damage. I take damage. I'm the man. I'm strong. I lift stuff. I don't want to have a support barbarian.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if someone really wants to make like a really, I would have to reskin like almost everything.
The whole thing's built around the wild magic table, and does this shit even scale? Like, the shit doesn't even scale.
No.
The thing is, like, do you want to play a barbarian that has to follow rules?
It's the same problem.
You want to just go fucking ham, right? You want to just go psycho.
It's the same problem that like a lot of the cleric channel divinities that do damage have, where it'll be like 2d10 plus your level. So there's really not a substantial difference between like level 10 and level 15, you know? Like, it doesn't scale. But yeah, I'm done with that. I don't like that. I think the barbarians got a little screwed on this one. I really did not think the wild magic was going to see the light of day.
I was very surprised it made it too.
Yeah. Let's go to the bard. Now the bard's got, I think, like, this one's harder to decide what's cool and what's not. Everybody knows the bards are very versatile. They're full casters that can do a lot of melee if you build them that way. They can do ranged if you build them that way. However you want to build a bard, it'll work. You know, that's part of the thing about them being good.
Why?
Why what?
Why are the bard? I don't get that. I've always had my problem. I like the idea of a bard being like, you know, in like classic RPG terms, but why is the most malleable class, like most utility class, the bard? Shouldn't they actually be probably like one of the least malleable classes?
I think it's tradition. It's just like the same reason
tradition
Fireball.
Would be they would be support.
I mean, I think overall they are best built towards support. They're never going to be the one weakness you can say about bards is that they're never going to be consistent top tier damage output. Even if they do magical secrets and get Fireball, they may be top tier, like up there for a certain amount of time, but it's not like reliable damage. With these bard subclasses they added, they are very, very much specific thematic type classes. The College of Creation bard is essentially Fantasia.
Yeah.
It's you get your broom, you make it dance, and you make it clean up while some
my
opera music plays.
I want a corn broom.
Yeah. It's basically
toss a coin to your witcher.
See, that would be cool.
Like this one is definitely a support class with like weird little elements added to it. The animating performance thing where you can make do they have they have like you basically get like a spiritual weapon but a little bit better that has more options and has health and can attack, and it's very, very, very good.
Oh god, my bard would do ballet, man.
Oh yeah.
See, I like the idea of Andrew's bard doing ballet, and then like some brooms and chairs and shit start dancing with him. Like, that's neat. But then if he also like strums his lute, shoots a fireball, and then takes out a sword and stabs somebody in the neck, it's like, what are we doing here? Like,
yeah.
It's like it's Mary Sue shit.
Totally the thing is that you can do all those things, but you can't do all of them at the same time. I feel like with
of course not. But you could from one turn.
I don't want to be able to do it in like 1 or 2 turns. It's stupid.
And still,
make me support and let me dance around and be a little freak. And,
the Note of Potential is one of the best bonus actions that you can do, where it makes you an already strong bonus action, Bardic Inspiration, even stronger.
What does it do? Can you read it?
It essentially, when you use your Bardic Inspiration, depending on what you're using it for, you get specific bonuses. Like if you do the ability check, you get roll it again. You basically get advantage. You get to roll it again and choose which one you want to use. For attack, I don't remember what it does. Oh, attack does damage when somebody hits using their Bardic Inspiration roll. And the saving throw, it heals you, I believe, or temporary HP.
So you can choose that as it happens?
Yeah. Depending on when you give somebody the Bardic Inspiration, they just get to use it. If they use their Bardic Inspiration to boost their attack roll, then they get to do it.
Oh, I see. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not a reaction. It's not anything. It is a 100% free economy ability, and it's pretty strong. But if you go this route, it's definitely a support route, but it seems really decent. And bards already have a lot of tools to deal with. So really, if you play a college creation, the only thing you have to worry about is you're probably can go down in one hit most of the times.
Yeah, but you're going to get so many other spells that can stop. It just can make you beefier as well. And like bards, don't they have a D? Aren't they a D8?
I believe they're a D8, yeah. But I think that these guys get a lot more. They were originally built, I think, more as like a creation-based, like creating stuff. Like, what's that level 5 wizard spell where you can like create shit? I believe that. I forgot what it was, but there is a spell where you can just make shit quickly. Like you can use magic to instantly take raw materials and put them together. That used to be like a core component of this thing, which I think they removed it from the UA. Yeah, let's go to the lawyer. Where's that? Eloquence.
Yeah,
now this one,
we've been talking about this one for a while, which is like thematically, it's a great. Like I like this one a lot, although I do know it's very, very strong.
I have never seen an idea for a subclass as instantly beloved as I saw College of Eloquence, of just being good at arguing. It is just the lawyer. I want to have.
What an annoying class! You could be so annoying. I'm sure.
I want to just have a guy in a white suit and just do a Southern lawyer eloquence.
We know.
I'd be licking my own asshole just all day, loving. I'm so smart. I'm so funny.
I would
fabricate. That's what it is. Thank you.
I would play it as a not as a lawyer. I'd play it as like annoying Socrates philosopher who's. I knew
wearing a toga.
Yep, exactly.
Pontificating.
Ugly, but he's just asking annoying questions.
Constantly doing this, Joel.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh yeah.
Oh no. This would piss off.
By the way,
this would piss off the most if I made my Southern lawyer a halfling who didn't wear shoes but wore a white suit.
Oh yeah.
Joel would quit.
You were gonna say it. I thought you were gonna say an orc.
Nah.
Orc lawyer. That is wrong. That is wrong. Here why.
Yeah, but eloquence.
Oh, Joel, a tiefling lawyer? Yes.
And you just do like
he's just a devil. He's just a devil.
He's just Al Pacino in that movie.
He's constantly going like he's touching his mustache. He's got a little
he does a tiefling coke mustache all the time.
Yeah.
He's also Southern though.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, all the most entertaining lawyers are all Southern.
Yeah.
Losing your way, Malachi. He appears to Malachi, but no one else.
Just walking into every fantasy village. Now, we did nothing wrong here. These boys just adventurers using their intuition.
Tell me that you would not. do what they did just to have a sweet embrace from your mama.
The only boys are asking for is just a single room, maybe a little bit of grub.
The only thing,
a little wine wouldn't do them too bad either.
The only thing that Aloysius Shadowblade did wrong was love his mama too much.
The whole crowd just stands up doing some applaud.
And then just taking out a hanky and just rubbing your face with it as the crowd goes nuts.
So we should do Dungeons and Deagles. Joel can DM, and then Charles, me, and Branson can play, and Branson can be the halfling lawyer. And me and Charles would be like ginormous, like jacked, like warlocks, and like just like the most edgelords again, basically.
Yeah.
And Branson's this little white suit lawyer.
Is a halfling lawyer an edgelord? Is he?
No.
I'm saying me and Charles.
Okay.
Charles and I would be edgelords.
Yeah.
Although Charles is like, oh, I have my Barney shirt on. I'm an edgelord.
Yeah.
Charles sucks.
Yeah, that was so bad.
Let's get him on the call. What's he up to?
We were saying, Joel, that
we had band practice earlier.
We were saying that he needs to work harder, and he said that we need to get him a coal-powered laptop, so he's shoveling coal into it while he does. So he's like, "Oh, make me work harder." And I smiled really big, but fuck you, Charles.
That's good.
All right, so the reason why the College of go ahead, and then we'll get back to it.
No, it doesn't have to do with classes. It's D&D, but I'll talk about it later.
Silver Tongue, you get insanely good at talking. It's basically the rogue talent. Reliable expertise or reliable talent or whatever it's called, which they get at like level 9. You get it at level 3 as long as it's a talk check. So you're going to be able to reliably talk your way out of anything, but very DM dependent. And honestly, one of the downsides of building a character that is really good at one skill check is that DMs always resent you for it. Not always, but a lot of times. Like, okay, you rolled 31. I guess you get to like talk your way out. No, it doesn't work that way.
Dude, a dragon is about to blow fire on everyone, and your little halfling lawyer is like, "Now, just 1 second here. Yeah. Let's talk about this."
Yeah, and then
he has to listen. He has to hear him out. No, he's gonna get cooked.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way to deal with it as a DM. Is can you talk your way out of this? Is this even possible at all?
Yeah.
Like maybe with city guards when you were caught peeing in an alley or whatever.
Yeah.
But not with like a dragon, not any of that shit.
Yeah. Unsettling words is really good. It's basically you use your bardic inspiration. I feel like some other bard subclass had this ability, except it's more offensive than I guess the what's one of the ones that did the Silver Tongue where they cast a spell and you take it away, or when another character attacks, you can use your reaction to add your bardic inspiration to take it away. It's not Valor, it's Lore, I think, can do that.
Oh yeah, because that's what TJ played with his halfling lucky, bountiful luck.
I love that. I loved when you told me he was doing the most a luck-based halfling is beautiful. Yeah. That was fun.
I have not
cutting words. Thank you. I can never remember what they're actually called.
Yeah, so good.
Unfailing inspiration, I feel like, is one of the strongest level 6 abilities I've ever seen. Where if somebody uses bardic inspiration and it doesn't go through, they just get to keep it, which is another power for nothing type of ability.
I'm okay with that kind of stuff because honestly, like, Branson, really think about how many times you've successfully used a bardic inspiration and it's really turned the tide of things or changed things.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I can think about it on one hand. It's not like you're getting advantage.
I don't know. Cutting words has saved a lot of asses, I feel like.
I'm talking about specifically using inspiration to enhance whatever your normal roll was. That's not that bad.
After that, it's kind of all of the bard stuff is so front loaded. A level 14, most of those like level 14 abilities don't matter. The only cool high level class ability is like the Fiend Warlock one where you can send people through hell. That's the only cool one.
Yeah, this one's whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like when you get to the end of a video game and you're already just like one-shotting everything. Like whatever cool thing you get now, you're like, oh, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. All right. What's up? what's next on the menu? Go into Cleric. The Cleric got 3 good ones and 1 that is unplayable.
I think Cleric is my favorite class.
I think Cleric is just a really solid all-around class for everything.
It's just like all the subclasses for it are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go to Order real quick first, which is very, very, very strong.
God damn, there's so many domains for clerics.
Yeah,
I know.
Decent to good. Good. I'll say they got good spell list. I feel like every cleric gets command at level 1. It works thematically, so I get it, but yeah, this is go ahead.
I don't think they do, because a lot of them wouldn't be willing to do that. Like, I'm scrolling through them right now. Like, a couple of them do. Like, Knowledge does, but nothing else.
Really? No. Maybe because the only one I ever played was Knowledge.
That's what I think.
All right, but these are the main thing about cleric subclasses is, do you get heavy armor or not? And these guys get it, and basically you're bossy. The whole point of this class is Order is that you're very bossy. You're constantly telling people what to do.
I'm in charge.
You are.
Ooh,
rocking out your arms folded.
With Charles and yours characters, can Charles be Charles in charge and he's just an Order player?
Oh
my
God.
We
cannot
really
give
good.
Charles a spellcasting character, because then he will never cast a spell.
Okay, here's the thing
Magic wards everywhere around the law. The what do they call a court? There's magical wards. Can't cast magic.
He would be a cleric of Order, and he'd be bossing everyone around in pursuit of money.
Oh God, yeah. So, Voice of Authority is really strong. You can just use a first level spell, and then they use their reaction to make a weapon attack. At level 1, this is like doubling somebody's damage output. It's pretty strong. And you'll see a lot of the cleric stuff. A lot of the cleric stuff is really front loaded.
Like it's early on in the character.
A level 5 cleric feels like you're the fucking man. And then level 10, you really don't get that much. Because even as you get higher in level, the cleric spell list is not great. Like, it's just that there's a few ones, like Spiritual Weapon and stuff like that, that are insanely strong. A lot of area of effect control stuff clerics get, but they get a pretty boring Channel Divinity. A lot of it's just charmed, and again, a lot of charm stuff it's very, very good, like walking into a room and blowing it right off the bat. Basically, the best cleric Channel Divinities is you walk into a room full of one thing and you pop it.
Man, even just getting Mass Healing Word for a domain spell at level 5 is crazy.
Yeah, because you don't have to put a slot on it. But,
yeah.
The thing with cleric spell lists is if they get a cleric spell on their spell list, there aren't that many great cleric spells. So
yeah, but that's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It does kind of fall off later on. It's not as cool, but that first one is really good.
Yeah. Embodiment
I
of
just
the
like
law
this guy going around jamming his finger to everyone's chest.
Yeah. It's literally you're just bossy.
Listen!
Don't do that! What are you doing? Don't go in the woods. Stay here!
No, we're doing what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do like a James Cagney style voice. Yeah, we're doing what I say. See? Yeah.
It's a very front-loaded class, but it's very strong. Specifically that Voice of Authority. Because, do that to a rogue. They can proc sneak attack. Do that to a paladin. They can smite.
Paladin.
You can do that to a lot of things. You can replace an attack action with a grapple. And, like, a lot of really strong shit can come out of that. But it's not even the strongest. The piece is the strongest. Yeah, Spirit Guardians. That's what I was thinking of, Brit. Chickbog, I played a Knowledge Domain Cleric. I did a non-variant human, and I tried to make all of my stats 14. And that was fun to play. And it definitely felt like at times I was OP. Because Knowledge Domain isn't even that strong. You get some cool shit from it, like Identify and stuff like that, but it's not like great. But it was very fun to play. Medium armor is still so tanky, especially early on.
Well, you had a shield too.
Yeah. Which, why wouldn't you almost if you're playing a cleric that's not melee based? Because I did shield or spiritual weapon and then told the dead out of everything when I ran out of spells. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Peace
His
is...
name was also Branta.
Oh, yeah. Deacon Branta.
Namer Branta.
Oh, yeah, that was because I worship Agma or whatever his name.
Yeah.
His first name was Deacon. Namer Deacon Branta. That's what he was.
There we go. Like Deacon Frost.
So Peace is... I really trust the RPG bot guy, and I didn't think this was very powerful, the Emboldening Bond. But man, it really is fucking a lot for level 1, where you get 2 players who get a D4 bonus to attack. It's going to be pretty hard to miss.
Well, attack, ability check, or saving throw.
Yeah, it's just a lot of utility. It's very much support-oriented. If anyone is familiar with the UAs, this one went through a couple different iterations. This was originally the love domain one that, like...
So, it was so good.
A lot of people... Potential. It's so much cooler than peace domain to have love.
So good.
It's just like... A guy that worships love. And I love love. Like, just big red hearts.
He's not horny at all.
But all the fucking weirdos made it like a horny thing where it's like, oh, he's charming people.
Horny means love. Yeah.
He's charming people. He's manipulating people.
He's like a Cupid. He's just like...
I'm thinking it's like he's a suave guy who wears like a heart suit, like Nick's anime character, like with a rose in his mouth. Like, it's not about like seduction. Like, he is like kind of like charming and seductive, but it's more about like love each other.
Oh, I was picturing a very, very rotund cherubic man with like his breastplate is just a giant red heart.
Yeah.
And he's got like curly long blocks and he just
thinks,
like
I love you.
There.
I love you.
I love you.
He doesn't even say he loves people. He just daydreams about other people falling in love with other people.
Yeah.
Like, he just loves... And what would you say his mount was?
Romance.
A giant swan?
Yeah, he rode around on a giant white swan.
Or he's a guy who walks around in like bell bottoms with like a peace sign and like little tiny glasses. He's like a hippie, like, hey man.
Yeah, cleric of peace.
I do love when players, like, as a DM, when players get like mounts and it's not just like a fucking horse that doesn't have a name. I fucking like, if somebody was like, oh, there's a giraffe, I want to tame and ride that giraffe. I would, yes, roll for it. You get it? If you roll high, it's yours. Like, I like that kind of stupid shit.
So, you remember TJ's wizard, Axis Bright?
Yeah.
He died, and then I got Spiritual Mount, and it's a giant white moose named Bright.
Not bad.
It's like a fucking huge moose. It's great.
I love that. Let people ride around on a crocodile as a mount. Don't ruin people's fun. It doesn't...
two crocodiles, and you just stand there.
Yeah, and you're just holding a rope, and you're just,
Boy, was it your friend who came up with the idea of termites being his mouth?
Oh, yeah, he laid down and bugs, a swarm of bugs would take him.
It'd be funny if there was like in like our campaign, like there's a unicorn on a carousel and one of us gets the mount. It's like a detached like unicorn with a pole through it, like a representation of it, and that's our mount. It's like magical and it just floats.
My orc monk rode around on a giant fly.
That was creepy, yeah.
I love that.
Held onto the hairs.
Yeah, just...
Ew.
Disgusting. And then the level 6 ability is insanely strong, too. You just get a switch. You can have your tankiest player. You can have a guy with 20 AC, 100 HP, bond with a wizard with 40 HP, 12 AC, and if the wizard gets hit, they switch spots. Like, it's very, very good. I thought some people were complaining about theoretical out of combat healing with the Channel Divinity Balm of Pete, like theoretically infinite, but I think they may have changed that. I think people were complaining.
Yeah, and that's the kind of shit too, where it's like, okay, yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like if you're the DM, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna let you do that, and you shouldn't even be trying to fucking use the game that way, anyways.
All right, I think the aesthetically coolest cleric domain now is Twilight. I think Twilight's really cool.
I'll respectfully disagree and go with the love cleric.
Oh yeah, well that doesn't exist. It's peace now.
I'm not calling it that.
All right. The love cleric is way more interesting.
So funny.
Yeah, because like the peace cleric has nothing to do with peace. It has nothing to do with stopping combat. They just changed the name because they didn't want to get yelled at.
I mean, I would change the name too. I hate getting yelled at.
Yeah, that's true. Twilight Domain is finally there's a really cool edgelordy cleric class. People that have been avoided. Elliot played the cleric class because of this.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that he played it through Curse of Strahd. I didn't realize that he played. Yeah, that's definitely why.
It is a heavy armor one. It's a melee oriented one. There's a lot of stuff on dark vision. So it's almost like they made it so that like people see dark vision, they're like, oh, well, unless you're playing a human, there's no point. This one gives you like insane dark vision. So even if you're a class that already has dark vision, it's kind of worth it. Again, dark vision is one of those things that every single DM plays a little bit differently. So if you want to have a primarily like dark vision focused guy, I would talk to your DM about doing it. But you get a lot of cool shit. Mostly the ability to fly in darkness is just neat. You're never going to do that much damage, but you're going to be a capable kind of frontline guy. You're in heavy armor. You're also going to have full caster spells, and you have really good mobility. I think it's just a really solid one. They've changed the Twilight Sanctuary channel divinity. I believe it used to be like a little bit stronger than this. I think it used to actively heal, and they changed it to temporary HP, which they should just change that to shield. The temporary HPs thing, I feel like hit.
God, I would love to play this guy and just be like a big armored elf with like flowing white hair that's always glowing.
You gotta have weird colored eyes.
Yeah, like purple eyes.
Yeah, I feel like that's a staple of this one. This one in the Watcher's Paladin subclass.
What would your character Andrew do if they were, I don't know, sitting outside? It's a cool night. The stars are out and the moon's out. What would they be up to?
He'd be looking up at the moon.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And contemplating.
Level 6, you can fly. It's amazing they give so much fly stuff now. They were very hesitant to give it early on. They thought flying would break the game.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, they do either you get it for like you get 10 feet flying speed or for like 1 minute.
Yeah.
You know his name would be, Joel?
Really made it lower, huh?
You know his name would be?
It'd be hard. No, I don't know what would be.
Lucius Star Reaver.
Ooh, there we go.
That's really good.
Hold on.
Lucius Star Reaver.
How do you spell Lucius?
Lucius.
IOUS.
IUS.
Star Reaver. Wait. LUCIUS?
I thought it was IOUS.
No, there's no O in there.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, there has not been a Lucius Star Reaver. I was positive somebody had made a Lucius Star Reaver in something.
Nope. In my mind, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got really solid abilities. It's got cool flavor. You get advantage on initiative and stuff like that. It's cool. It's fun. I recommend it. It's not overpowered. It's strong, but not overpowered. So pretty solid.
Yeah. I played through one up to like what level did we get to? Like 11 or 12 maybe? In Curse of Strahd, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool character.
All right.
Cool.
I love the druid ones on this one.
You made a whole campaign revolving around it.
I love the druid ones. We'll go into spores a little bit. I don't know what they actually changed because they've printed this one. I think this is like the second time they've printed it. It was in the Eberron one.
I think there was a UA out before that.
The UA was awful. You used your own reaction on your own turn. It was super fucking stupid. It was like horribly designed. This one, you can still get pretty tanky. It is like a good in-between type of druid where you're not really a frontline guy, but you have the ability to wade in there, similar to like a Ravnica, that's what it was. You have the ability to like wade into combat if you do the symbiotic entity, which is cool. I really like that they're starting to have alternate uses for wild shape that are more like subclass oriented. I think they've kind of figured that out.
God, remember we were playing with I don't want to say their name just because, but like we were playing with when you did that like 5-shot, and they were so excited they were becoming like this myconid person. Their description of them going into their wild shape lasted like 5 minutes.
Yeah, every type of mushroom that was growing on his head. God. But yeah.
I do like that though, like just be more creative rather than just like I become a bear, I become a wolf or whatever. It's like no, you become a different thing of nature. It's really cool.
Big change is the Halo of Spores.
I'm lichen on a log.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The big change on the Circle of Spores is that they changed it from poison damage to necrotic damage because, again, everything gets resisted by poison, but they lowered it to a D4. So it scales worse. Like, you're not going to be able to build a melee druid off this guy. Like, you would have to really fucking orient it only towards melee. There are a lot of interesting builds that go Polearm Master with this. So you're able to do Symbiotic Enmity, Shillelagh, and then you're able to get a good amount of damage every time, but you're never really going to be tanky enough. The biggest problem that Druids always have is AC. They just don't fit in well with anything. And if you're doing Polearm Master, you don't get to wear a shield as a Druid, which a lot of people optimize for.
And you're not supposed to use metal.
Yeah. Again, DM kind of dependent on how you want to do it, but I like druids that are nature-y.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, it gets really cool later on where it gets like you can't have almost any status conditions once you have so much like fungus in your body. But it's a pretty solid class. I don't think it's broken.
You kind of skipped over symbiotic entity, didn't you?
Well, yeah. Let's go back to it.
That's like the whole point of it, like because it's a little bit more like a necromancer feeling.
Yeah, but that's why you get a wade into melee combat. You get like the temporary shield bonus. You get additional is it necrotic? Yeah, necrotic damage on your melee weapon attacks. Like it's definitely built in where okay, you can activate your Halo.
Sorry, I'm thinking of something else. Isn't there some way you can like resurrect people, or am I making that up?
You basically get the zombie. That's fungal infestation. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is pretty solid, but again, it's like. You throw a guy, it's not going to be game breaking. Like a lot of people, like if they go necromancy as a school, like the whole thing you're trying to do as a necromancer is get like multiple undead under your control at one time, which seems exhausting, which is why I would never really play like a necromancy type character because you're as good as what undead you have around you.
But it's tempting if you don't look at it like that. You look at it as how many can I get? Like you're just trying to find
like in Diablo.
Exactly. That's kind of tempting. Yeah. Where you just
yeah,
get, and then it becomes a thing. It's like okay, we're going into this city. I'm gonna hang out here with my boys.
Yeah,
my skeletons that drink with me, and it goes straight through the ribs, all over the ground.
There we go. It's back to Looney Tunes. I love that.
Okay, I'm into it now.
Yeah, I'm into it now. I'm into undead now. All right, Circle of Stars.
They're all clacking and chattering and laughing the whole time.
I think Circle of Stars is the coolest.
Are they making puns?
They're saying no bones about it. They're calling each other boneheads, knuckleheads.
Yeah,
they're playing the ribs like the xylophone,
right,
or a marimba, like boom, 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 boom.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Yeah. Circle of Stars, I think, is my favorite subclass from this book. It's just like weird, you know. What's that shit called in Ireland where you got all the circle Stonehenge style, like you have a good mix of like astral
like
shit. Yeah, no, Stonehenge. Like you have a good mix of like astral shit with like regular druid shit. It's all about stars. And
so they're kind of like Maxwell's shit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They get a lot of free guidance is a great cantrip. If you have guidance, you should always have it on somebody out of combat, basically. Guiding Bolt is good.
Andrew, if I could, I think with Maxwell, though, yours is less about, like, the actual stars and more about your astral self, meaning, like, the astral projection of yourself that you summon.
It's both. Because his Brotherhood, their goal is to go to the stars. Like, that's what they want.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the astral shit is part of it.
Okay.
So starry form is just like the same as the Circle of Spores symbiotic entity, where it's an alternate form for your wild shape. So you get to choose what kind of starry form you get to take. Archer is the offensive one. Chalice is, I think, a healing oriented one, and Dragon sucks. Dragon is terrible. There's no reason to ever do Dragon. Like, I don't know as a druid how valuable concentration is, because you shouldn't be, especially as a Circle of Stars druid, which is a straight caster. It is not has any melee or defensive capabilities at all. You should never use Dragon. It's kind of useless.
That one's so much worse.
I don't know. A lot of the stuff, like even with Cosmic Omen isn't like great.
If you made a Circle of Stars druid, would you call him Cosmic Owen?
Cosmic Owen is pretty good.
Oh my god.
He would be very high.
Wow. I'm in the stars.
You just doing McConaughey voice or Owen Wilson voice there?
Owen Wilson.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm in the stars.
Like McConaughey would be like, we're in the stars now. You got everything about the stars, all those stars.
Oh, this is with the wheel and woe mechanics.
Yeah. I think if you're going a druid as summoner, you're going Shepherd. Shepherd is way better for that because you get the unicorn thing that heals all of your summoned units. If you're going primarily summoner, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I think like the Cosmic Omen can help. It's similarly like it's a long rest where you basically get a bardic inspiration from what I'm seeing. Yeah. Oh, you can use it you can use this reaction. Yeah, it's pretty decent. It's just not game breaking. Then you just basically get scaling, which I'm glad they have fucking started realizing. And then defensive at level 14. By that point, man, you're probably going to live if you're level 14. It's really hard to build design. Even if you look at a lot of the top end bosses in the...
I like that 14 one because at least it's something that works as like ribbon and you could use outside of combat. Like if you wanted to sort of like scare a group of like guards who are just like fucking you up, you could just do that. And then you're like, I mean, that's...
Or you make all those California elves cry because they're so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about the California elves.
All right, last one, Wildfire. Very, very fucking cool.
You like Circle of Stars more than Circle of Wildfire?
Yeah.
Huh.
Circle of Stars is newer, though, so we'll see. Well, they also changed a lot within the Circle of Wildfire thing. Main thing is that they took away Fireball. And that sucks. There's no reason it shouldn't have Fireball.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, if like a lot of real borderline classes get Fireball, why cannot a pure caster get Fireball if they're fire themed is a little... But I guess I
think the solution is every DM will be like, you can have Fireball.
Yeah.
Gyaro Frog, I absolutely hate that mechanic. Anyone casting Polymorph to like make somebody play a different character that's against the whole... I hate that shit, man.
Wildfire is thematically probably one of like the best ideas in Tasha's. I will say.
100%.
I struggle with Circle of Stars a little bit to get it, like what it really means. Because that just sounds like I don't really know the difference between that and like a cleric of like a Twilight cleric.
Yeah.
It's not that different to me. But Wildfire is like, yeah, nature sometimes requires like destruction in order to grow back up and regenerate.
I think they're trying to open up the druid a little bit because it was the most thematically limiting.
Yeah, I could see that. But Wildfire is just it's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it really is.
And still stays true.
And fucking interesting. There's a lot of like subclasses that they float that are just fucking boring and you wonder like who asked for this, you know?
Yeah. I think there's some of that with the Paladin that I'm not
I think
into.
A lot of times when they're designing stuff, they're trying to go in an area that's more like, okay, well, this would be like an interesting combat niche instead of like, this would be an interesting character to play.
Yeah, and I could see it going both ways.
they really leaned into the wildfire druid being a blaster healer kind of hybrid, because in order to activate a lot of your subclass healing abilities, you have to blast shit and kill it with fire, and then it creates a little node of healing that you're able to run over. Again, you don't get that to like level 10. But you get a lot of cool stuff with that. When you have your wildfire spirit, you're not just better at certain things, you actually get better at healing. They make it really really easy to like maximize your potential. It's very well designed, I feel like.
Well, that's what's cool about it, is that they do the right thing of making it not just burning things down. It's actually a really strong healing component in the subclass. Like, do druids not normally get cure wounds? That's probably true, right? They probably don't. I don't know.
I guess not, if they have it on this, or unless they get it for free. No, they get cure wounds because rangers get cure wounds. So there's no way that they.
But mass healing word.
Mass healing word. I don't even know who fucking gets it.
No, mass cure wounds. Mass healing word is cleric.
Mass cure wounds. Let's see who's spell list. Bard, cleric, druid. Yeah. All right, never mind. But yeah, it's got a cool thematic. I wish they do more stuff like this, like just really cool thematic stuff. Because I feel like with a lot of the martial classes, they shit the fucking bed.
So they do get, just to be nitpicky, Aura of Life is normally a paladin spell. They do get that one, and they cannot normally do Revivify, but they can with that spell.
Well, they get Reincarnation, which people hate because there's a chance you could be a halfling.
Oh, I would love that. That'd be sweet.
I'd love that too. Getting your race changed halfway through.
Yeah, fuck it.
All right, so on this one we got Psy Warrior. Which, is anybody excited? First of all, look at it fucking compared to most like.
Can I just tell you exactly what it is?
Yeah.
They wanted to make a Jedi.
Really?
I mean, dude, look at it. That's all it is.
Really?
It's just like lame telekinesis shit. It's just like, oh, you all like Star Wars. Here you go.
Oh, great. I forgot about that.
Psi-powered leap, telekinetic thrust, guarded mine, bulwark of force. Like, no, it's just that. It's so lame.
Yeah. And
I think it's cool. I think it's cooler than Wildfire Druid.
The psionic energy dice. I imagine trying to explain the psionic energy dice to a new player, and I'm just annoyed already. Where the size of the dice decreases on unsuccessful and increases on successful, and it's just, it's a very clunky mechanism.
So I heard two arguments. The one argument I do agree with is that at least it's a new mechanic that is sort of okay. No, you can't name my character's name Kenobi. I did come up with a character the other named Kobe Wan, like Juan.
Instead of Obi-Wan, it's Kobe Wan.
It's Kobe Wan, and he's a Hispanic basketball playing psionic warrior. So you can't use that. But no, I think it's cool that they try to come up with a new mechanic for dice rolling. Jin is a soul knife, so it's the same psionic things. I think it's cool they try to come up with a new mechanic for the rolling stuff, but like I do think that it's weird and clunky, and we've already kind of been like, what's the point of this? This just feels like it's a D6 every fucking time. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of rolling.
It feels like half-assed, but
yeah,
I get the idea of them trying to come up with new things that are just different.
Yeah, and what kind? If you try to figure out what combat, like what niche does this fill? I'm not really even sure. It's like a lot more like options, I guess, as a fighter, whereas a fighter traditionally has been very boring. So it gives you like different options to do and different things to do on your turn, and that way makes it more interesting. But like,
I think there's a reason that Battlemaster is by far the most beloved of the fighter classes.
Yeah, because it should have just been a core mechanic.
Well, no, not even necessarily. I don't know if I agree with that 100%. I see what you mean. But, like, that actually makes you feel like you are good at combat.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you have a bunch of different options that you can do. And, like, all the other stuff that kind of implements magic into it, I'm like, well, all right, so you're not really a fighter. You are a magic person, or you're a psychic warrior. Like, you're not really a fighter then anymore. You're something else, I guess. So I would have even taken like I love the Cavalier too.
It's better than the Echo Knight. I did not like the Echo Knight at all.
I like the champion as just being like, here's your entry level class. But yeah, Psionic Warrior, I don't know. Right. I guess it does give you other things to do, but I'm not really into it.
So I do like Rune Knight. I did like Rune Knight.
Yeah, Rune Knight's cool.
Yeah. Rune Knight's cool. It's interesting. It's a good class because it's interesting thematically. There are important choices to make within the class. It's not just like going to be one thing all the way down that everyone decides is the best thing. You get a different amount of runes, but eventually you're going to be able to like kind of do what you want with them. And you get to grow. You get to just get bigger.
Yeah, you kept on bringing up halflings. Someone who was talking about like, what if I was a halfling
and you just became a normal sized man? Yeah.
Yeah. But another thing they did right with the Rune Knight is they leaned into like, no, you get this from giants. Like, they don't do this shit where like, oh, well, your family once knew it. No, just it's fucking from giants.
You can learn giant magic. This is giant magic.
This is giant magic.
And it's a rudimentary form of magic where you just write it on your stuff.
Yeah, and if someone's like, well, can I reflavor this? Sure, you can, but why? That's fucking cool.
And this one still has decisions to make. It's just the decisions are made before going into combat.
Yeah, which is really neat.
Yeah,
it feels a little bit more like a customizable, like a la Warlock, a la Artificer, customizable warrior, fighter, rather.
All right, let's do the monk, and then I gotta pee. So we'll go down there. Again, there's so much. I feel like the mechanics of fighter are so. You know what? What about the new Battle Master stuff?
The optional class features.
Yeah, let's do that. They don't have the menu. Here we go. All right. The maneuvers they actually do add. They do this thing in here where they have Battle Master builds, and they're all fucking terrible. Like, they're trying to get you to think about, like, what's new and what's not. But the Battle Master builds they actually have in there are terrible. The fighting styles, I guess they have that right at the beginning. Yeah. They got blind fighting, right? Which is cool. Which, it doesn't matter if you're blinded, if your vision's impaired. If anything's in 10 feet of you, you can see it. Which
it's a bummer you didn't have that for your first character.
Yeah. Which it's just it's a clean mechanism. It's not overpowered because, well, is that stronger than a +1 AC? No. In 99% of situations. But it's strong enough that when it really matters, you're fighting something invisible, you're all of a sudden the man. Which I think is the coolest moments in D&D, where somebody built for one thing and they get a chance to use it.
Yeah. And if that fucks up your game as a DM, then you probably need to reconsider like how you're approaching encounters.
Intercept is a great one. It's another defensive one, which they don't have a lot of defensive abilities in this game. And this one is definitely one that's one of the better fighting styles that can do it. Superior technique is you basically get a bunch of Battle Master skills. Not a bunch, but you get one superiority die. Then they have unarmed fighting, which kind of I don't get what the point is. I guess like thematically it would work, but
I think they're just trying to make it to where you can actually, because I think people complain about when you're fighting with fists, like, or if you want to have that as an option and you didn't take like a monk, you can basically do that rather than just do your strength modifier. Yeah. So I mean, it's fine. But really, I think that the maneuvers are where the fighter actually got a lot better. Like, I just like that all of them they added are ones that like are like, yeah, these are all basically cool. Yeah. I just bait and switch is dope. Like, with you're within 5 feet of a creature, you can expend 1 superior dice and switch places with that creature.
Yeah.
I just think that kind of stuff makes the fighter really unique.
Well, it gives it stuff like even ambush gives you a bonus to your stealth. Like, there's more options you can play. It really makes the fighter more of like a actual like
fighter.
Well, you have to think a little bit in combat versus like a champion fighter where you roll and hope to crit every time. Like,
which I'm glad that there's both.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that anyone between those two, that anyone wouldn't play a Battle Master.
Yeah.
Just, oof.
Yeah, I think there are some cool fighters, subclasses, but they are pretty straightforward. Even like something as cool as like the samurai is something that is very straightforward, you know?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to go over all the individual ones, but there are 7 maneuvers added. There was over 10 in the last one. There's plenty of choices to make when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, they're great though.
Jump to the monk.
Monk and then little pee-pee.
Yeah, then I got to pee my brains out. Monks are coolest. I love monks.
Yeah, I fell in love with monks after playing one.
Oh, we've all played monks here.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. What monk did you play again, Joel?
I played okay, this is real min-maxy. I played a Tabaxi Shadow Monk who took the mobile feat, who got the, what are they called? The slippers of spider leg climbing?
Yeah.
And so I could move, if I did everything, I could move 360 feet in 6 seconds, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 400. It was a lot. And then Elliot casted haste on me one time, so it went up to 600. But yeah, I loved it. Like I had a lot of fun across the board, and not even with the Shadow Monk stuff. Like that was cool, but I really didn't even get that far into it. I just had fun with just the base level of Monk.
Yeah. So. And the Tabaxi was what mattered, and you were Shadow, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And then you were Open Hand, and then Andrew's doing Astral Self.
Yeah, I was Open Hand. I was a made for combat and combat only guy. And Andrew's Astral Self, which is, yeah, we'll go over that one first, then we'll do Mercy. Andrew, how do you like playing an Astral Self monk?
Sorry, I was eating. So far, it's cool. I like I really like the arms. It's cool to be able to just beat the shit out of someone. Kind of like just having the like extra attacks like a rogue.
Yeah.
But
it's definitely.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, right now, like my thing is, I'm liking like that I chose the Leonin, like the roar.
Dude, that's
I think it's really
best
cool.
Racials. You guys would have died if not for that.
And he's so quick.
Yeah. And you start.
He just shoots across.
Leonins start with a 35 move speed. They're I like that they're mixing it up a little bit like that. Yeah, Ryan's a lot of people immediately. It's the JoJo class. It's the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure class. Thematically, it's cool. You have all the Astral Self arms. It's a different type of monk you can usually go for, but man, the one thing with this one, every single subclass ability empowers your one thing. It is made for blowing your wad. When you are in a tight spot, you go Arms of the Astral Self, you're easily doing twice as much damage, I feel like, by the end of it, because you're getting so many free extra attacks. You're still able to do stuff like Flurry of Blows. You're still able to like do core parts of, well, actually you're not able to do the Flurry of Blows, but your arms get additional attacks that make it kind of pointless anyway. You get a lot of cool shit from your subclass. Like, Andrew, the only thing your subclass is going to benefit you for is when you do the arms thing. Like, there is nothing else later on.
Which I think that's cool for them to take that approach where it's like, yeah, this is the one thing that makes you unique.
Yeah.
You know, you have other monk things that you can do, but what really makes it different is like, this is it. And it just constantly goes up.
And they also make it so you can build a completely wisdom-oriented monk instead of having to go Dex Con like almost everybody does.
Yeah, that's true.
I do like the stuff when they encourage different build paths, especially with classes like Monk that are so multi-attribute dependent. But Astral Self is a very well put together class. Mercy, I saw the Unearthed Arcana and I loved it, but I haven't seen anyone play it and I haven't heard much. I have heard it's strong because it's a monk where you're able to do some healing, but essentially, aesthetically, they make it so that you're like a plague doctor type, which I don't know fits 100% into the monk type. And I wish they would have almost went like a little bit away from that. They even lean into the you wear a mask type thing.
Yeah, I was surprised by that they put that in there, but that's fine. It just feels like it's making it edgier. I would like to play like a really, really old monk who's just old and shitty, and just like has seen too much battle, and that's why he's like done with it. He's just using mercy. I don't know why they have to make it kind of edgy, but
yeah, because the whole thing is you can never be a straight healer from this.
Yeah,
You're basically going to be you directly.
He's a very mobile healer, though.
Yeah, that's true. You directly are taking your power from offense to healing, which is good. Brait, Mercy, there is a redemption paladin, but even then, they are not healing based as much as they are kind of tanky based. But still, I actually like the Oath of Redemption. It's considered kind of weak, but I think it's a cool subclass.
Yeah, I like the Way of Mercy also. I think it's I think it'd be a fun one to play.
Orion's right in that monks are the anime class.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Definitely. Is that for monks?
Yeah, those are the only two. Mercy is really cool. You get a lot. Well, here, even if I go into a lot of the stuff with the Mercy, a lot of it is replacing your flurry of blows with healing. They give you skill and medicine and insight, which is very helpful. But you're also able to kind of use your ki more freely. You can use it to heal. You can use it to do extra damage. They kind of have it mixed in with like the lay on hands ability a little bit, where you can change your healing to cure a condition and whatnot. And that makes you like more of like a battlefield medic than a pure healer. Again, D&D doesn't really encourage like pure healing classes most of the time. Like the life domain might be the main exception to that.
Cool, which is like they almost went too far with that one.
Yeah.
I like this class though because you could build like a background of like this monk comes from a brotherhood or an order of monks that were these sole like healers on a country that was like hit by a plague for like a century. Yeah, and like their whole image is based around like using like the plague to heal, like just using like knowing how to heal, but also using it how to like harm people too.
Yeah, they do get that one move where you can do necrotic damage when you hit somebody.
Right. Yeah.
It used to be poison. They changed all this because this used to lean a lot harder into like you have medicine to help heal and you have poison to help hurt.
Oh, that's lame. That's a lot cooler.
Well, I think they everything's fucking
necrotic is a little bit more grim to me.
Everything's
like, just straight up being like, I'm gonna make you rot.
It's 100% a balance reason. Because acid and poison are the thing that nobody ever wants to do that type of damage because they make everything in the game resistant to it, you know? So it's kind of like
their way out of it.
Yeah. I guarantee if they do a 5.5 or a 6E, they're going to clean up a lot of that stuff. You're going to see a lot of stuff with a lot less resistances.
Or just more fun resistances. Like, I wish it was more like Pokemon.
I wish there was more vulnerabilities.
Yeah, like, I think it's neat when you can figure that out, like especially when they give druids and rangers stuff where they can figure out weaknesses and vulnerabilities and resistances, and then like it never fucking matters because it's always bludgeoning, piercing, slashing unless it's magic, poison, acid, and then sometimes you'll get like a fire resistance or something.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pee real quick. Be back in a couple minutes.
Andrew, can you hold down the fort?
I suppose.
Oh. I'll be right back.
Let's get suggestions for Andrew. Questions for
I'm
Andrew?
going to check my chess games. Oh, Jake hasn't made his move. How do you get better at Siege? Play a lot. Learn the maps. Map knowledge is number 1. Op knowledge is number 2. Does this look infected? Yes. Thank you, Braid. I'm doing well. I've been, as of today, a nurse for a year, so I'm very comfortable. Even if things have been getting a lot harder again lately in the hospital. Plus, I just work tomorrow night, and I have another 3 days off after that.
All right. That I think, Orion, that's because they don't want to give vulnerability to anything that's already strong, because then people will just completely go out of their way to do it. Also, that would make radiant damage like one of the strongest types. Because then would you have necrotic be effective against angels and whatnot? I think that's always like the risk of, or that's the logic. You look at a lot of like bosses they'll have in the original like Dungeon Master Guide, and they're just resistant to everything, which seems kind of weird to me because they could have just doubled their HP. The only thing it really benefits is there's like the elemental adept feat where you can like ignore resistance on like fire damage or whatnot, or you can ignore resistance and then immunity becomes resistance or whatnot. Other than that, I don't know why they do it.
Joel! I think he went to sleep.
I think he went to sleep too. I think we're never going to see Joel again. They gave paladins a lot of the fighting styles that the other ones had, but I don't think I don't think there's any crazy optional class changes to the paladin. I think the ranger's all for that, and everybody has a different idea of how to fix the ranger anyway.
Is there any books that they did like an arena? So one of my favorite things in RPGs is when there's an arena part. Like Fable did it, Oblivion did it, Paper Mario 1000-Year Door did it, where you just like fight different enemies. They keep getting like stronger and stronger, and then there's always like twins that you got to fight. Twins! But like there's always various enemies that you fight, and you keep going round after round. I think that'd be really fun in a campaign where you and your party just keep facing these fucking different levels of enemies to escape this arena, like gladiator style.
Yeah, I think I think people get like.
I mean, people would get sick of like just the fighting. But it'd be funny if like
I put one in my my.
I think having a good arena is like mandatory in some. I didn't do it in this one, but it's always like.
It would be funny though if you ranked up and you guys went like your party kept going to different arenas and fighting different places like Gladiator, and there's like in between like role playing stuff in between the fights, and I don't know, could be fun. It could get old.
Me and Joel never did the twin characters we were gonna do where we both spoke at the same time. It'd be too hard to do it.
Sentences.
It'd be too hard to do it over Discord. But me and Joel got very good at in person saying the same words at the same time.
And then they would be the same size, and they would hold each other's feet and hands and do somersaults over each other.
Isn't that like some DC superhero or something?
Oh, I don't know.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Something along those lines.
I think it's just Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Thing 1 and thing 2.
All right, let's move on to the Oath of Glory. I played the Oath of Glory.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you? I'm only on truly number 1.
Oh, God, Joel. What are you doing, Joel?
Truly behind.
Ho, ho, ho. You got to slam it, Joel.
I'm truly not one.
You got to put that bottle to that can to your mouth. And
he needs to have some. He needs to have some peanut nor. He's got the hat on, folks.
I do.
He's wearing it the wrong way.
It's a good hat.
No, he's not. He's wearing it the cool way.
Well, cool then tell him to turn around so we can read it. There we go.
Well, that's a great hat.
That's a great hat.
Did you design it, or was this already?
Oh, it's pre-made, baby.
Oh wow!
Sold
they just
hundreds.
sold it that way.
Comic Sans Pinot Noir. Wow.
All right. Oath of Glory is not that good, but it's okay. And it's cool. I think the Oath of Glory is really cool because they basically want you to be Hercules, right? You're just, ooh, look at how strong. This guy's so strong that he's a paladin.
I don't get it. He's so strong, so he's a paladin?
Yeah. You're like a great athlete. You can inspire people with your smite. That is actually a very good ability, or you can give shields on your channel divinity smite. It's yeah, it's supposed to be like a guy that's really cool and strong, and he just doesn't do that much well. Like, he gets Guiding Bolt as a paladin spell, and this is obviously made for like a fighter paladin. The only real thing is that they get haste, and that's pretty good. But even then, like, a Horizon Walker gets haste, and it's not like game breaking. You know, it's it's another attack.
This is where my, like, I don't know, what am I trying to say? Like, my idea of just like something being pure, or my sense of like traditionalism really shows through, is like, I think paladins need gods, or like a divine purpose or something behind that, and just like desire, like the desire to be like just to be good is not, that doesn't really do it for me. You're a fighter, you're a barbarian.
It's a hard
That's just
sell,
me personally,
but I like it. I like it. It was fun to play it. The Aura of Alacrity is.
When did you play it?
When I played with you guys, when I went to Chicago and I did the half elf.
Oh yeah. For Curse of Strahd. Yeah. Gotcha.
And the coolest thing is that you get an aura that makes everyone faster, and it makes yourself faster. So you can get to be pretty fast on this thing, and you make other people faster. It's not as good as a lot of the other ones because paladins get a lot of strong options, you know, but this one's not as strong. But it's cool, and I think it would be fun to play. It was fun to play.
I will say that paladins always get the best 20th level cap things. They're just always so dumb.
Yeah.
Like this one of the things is when you miss, you can just choose to hit instead.
Yeah. No, I hit you.
Yeah,
no,
it's like
I'm pretty sure I hit you.
No, I got you.
No, I got you though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good class. Paladins are strong. There are some classes that are so strong that the subclasses don't matter too much. It's not going to be as good as other subclasses, but it's going to be more interesting than like fucking Devotion or whatever. Like, it's not going to be boring, which is good narratively.
What about a paladin of wine? He believes in wine.
You could do a nature paladin that worships wine easy.
I've already sold. I mean, it was in. I think it might. I don't know if TJ put it in or if it was in Curse of Strahd. There was a Wizard of Wines that I just can't get out. I just fall asleep thinking about that every night.
How come there hasn't been like there's been glamour, but not like a Bacchus level bard, you know?
Oh, that'd be annoying as shit.
Yeah, that would.
Is it they want bards to be hornier?
Dude, that's the most annoying trope that rogues can be pretty edgy, bards can be horny, and I'd rather deal with edgy than horny.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna be horny, then you gotta be just like a Grievous horny.
Yeah, you gotta be like a let me smell your
like
feet.
Comedic. You can't be like trying to like fuck your party members. It's just gonna be weird.
Well, that's what the.
Well, I mean, you can be like, yeah, come here, baby, let's get it on. But like not being like seductive, like, why don't you lay with me tonight? Like
the only cool
bizarre,
horny thing, and it wasn't like a horny thing, it was a joke thing, was when TJ's goblin druid turned into a rat and had sex with another rat. That was really cool. I enjoyed that a lot. That was really
if you're an animal and you're fucking another animal, it's great.
because he's like, okay, I'm gonna wait till everyone's not looking and I'm gonna slip to the bathroom real quick. I'm like, what's the fuck is TJ doing? And then he turned into a rat, ran down the hole in the floor that was the toilet, found a rat and fucked it, came back up like nothing happened. Never brought it up to anybody, never mentioned it to another character.
Yep. We were talking about the other night how funny it was, and he immediately became kind of like, he thought we were going to like accuse him of something from it, so he immediately became defensive. He's like, it was consensual. And we're like, no, you're just
TJ rocks, man. Oh, TJ's so cool.
That was one of the funniest fucking things.
That was the funniest fucking thing. All right. Oath of the Watchers is similar to Twilight, I feel like, in aesthetic a little bit. The whole point of this thing is that, like, okay, certain things shouldn't exist in my universe, and I'm trying to get rid of them. So it's like a paladin that's not interested in good or evil. It's like, get the Celestials out of here, get the demons out of here, get that whatever aberrations out of here, because it's just supposed to be mortals watching mortals.
So, like aberrations, celestials, elementals, phase.
Everything that, everything.
Everything? That's cool. I like that.
It kind of gets the boring channel divinity, but it works thematically. But they also are smart enough to give you a second channel divinity where you're able to, like, give them advantage on certain saving throws. So it's really kind of like an anti-magic oriented paladin. Obviously, saving throws can be for other things, but that's what I kind of think it of. It's really good on initiatives and stuff like that too.
I like this one more than the other paladin because, like, even though there's not probably going to be like a deity involved, I could see like an order of them.
Yeah.
So like they all pledge to these tenets together, and like that's what you're a paladin.
Keep in mind, Oath of Glory is based off of like Greek myth, so that's what they decided Hercules would be. So I'm okay with that one, but
it's just not a paladin.
Yeah, well, gotta figure out something for him,
I guess.
But I think this is a solid class. Again, I don't think any of the paladin classes they introduced are like insanely strong or anything. But I think they both have good flavor. They both can make cool characters. So you should probably choose that over it being strong. Because it still will be strong. All paladins have smite, so you're good,
Yeah.
What if there was a paladin, though? This goes against what Joel wants, but what if there was a paladin that was like almost like have a nice life paladin, like he wants to kill a god, or like he's against gods, like only man.
I think this would be the closest thing to it, right?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. Because that's it's the only thing I can think of.
Unless you could do like a
Oathbreaker or something.
Yeah, Oathbreaker or Conquest, I guess, like are
the atheist paladin.
Well, they lean themselves to where you could have like a different type of deity.
I made that nihilist paladin subclass.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Like this paladin's just like no gods, no kings, only man. He's just like, I'll fucking kill everything that isn't a man.
Yeah.
Let's get into the ranger here. Let's
oh baby.
Let's see some of these optional class rules, right? So I'm going to start with the favored foe, which is replacement of favored enemy. Because this one is favored enemy is very poorly designed, right? Because it makes sense on a character level, but depending on the campaign your DM is doing, it can be a complete whiff, right? So then you have this big feature that is supposed to be central to your character, and 20% of the time or 80% of the time you're not able to use it. So they replaced it and they gave you an optional rule called favored foe, which is essentially a weaker's hunter's mark. It doesn't work as well as hunter's mark does, which I feel like to fix the ranger, hunter's mark would just be a fucking ability. You can use it up to your wisdom modifier times a day, and it doesn't count as a spell. It doesn't count as using a spell slot when you use it or something like that. I feel like that would be the smarter fix. With this one, they give it a D4 instead of a D6. You still have to use concentration. I believe, you can do it a number of times up to your proficiency bonus, which is blah. But you only do an increased damage of 1d4, which is on average 2.5. It goes up in level, but the big thing with this that makes it worse than Hunter's Mark is that you can only do that damage once per turn. So Hunter's Mark, if you have a d6 and you attack twice, you get 2d6. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of Colossus Slayer.
Yeah. Hunter's Mark you can do as if you hit, it does the damage. It does not do that on this.
Yeah, you're right. I'm bummed by this. I'm less bummed by that and more bummed by the fact you still have to concentrate.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So the wording on it is weird. Not to get into like the details too much, but it says, or until you lose your concentration. Does that mean you are concentrating on it? Because it doesn't say that.
Yeah, you're concentrating on it as if it was a spell.
So that's the biggest thing to me is like, well, then what's the point? Sure, you're saving a spell slot, but like you're a ranger, you don't really have that many to begin with.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. I don't mind doing the 1d4 or only doing it like once per turn, but it's just like, well, now I really can't use my other ranger shit. I'm just going to use this worse ability that I'm probably going to use on Hunter's Mark anyway.
The one advantage you do have is that it doesn't require, you do it automatically. It doesn't require a bonus action to do. But then again, low-level ranger action economy is so limited that you don't have much else to use your bonus action on.
Yeah, you use it for Hunter's Mark.
Yeah. So it's just a little underwhelming, which is kind of fine because it's replacing a relatively underwhelming ability. A very underwhelming.
So it's amazing that they undershot an underwhelming ability,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So then they replaced Natural Explorer because, you know, when they designed D&D, they think it would be 3 pillars with exploration being one of them. But it's really just hard to do exploring right in a tabletop game where you have pictures. Like, I'm sure it can be done right and people have done it right. There was a weird D&D subreddit that had like very specific exploration rules that people like sweared by, but it also seemed labyrinthian and like hard to get into. Yeah. And also like 20 people in the world played it.
I like this replacement of it because at least it gives you mechanical things like more skill proficiencies. Increasing your walking speed level 6 is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
And then temporary hit points. Like I think that's
this is good. This is a good ability. Yeah, I think this is a good ability. And I think it's not so good that Natural Explorer becomes useless because you can still make a cool character from that. If you just have to talk to your DM and say, I really want to be like an explorer, will that fit into your mythos, your world? And if they say no, they say no. If not, not. And then they get all the same fighting style options. I believe that's the only different thing they get. Oh, no. They get a ton of optional class features. Okay, so let's look at, as we kind of go down, Primal Awareness. So this was always the super weird ability. And even when we first started playing D&D, Joel played a ranger. And being like, so I can just see this? It almost seemed weird at the beginning.
I played a UA one, though, so it was because someone told me not to play the base PHB, which I kind of regret. But that's why it was also weird. But, yeah, it is a strange sort of ability, even described in the PHB or even the UA I played.
But I like that this one goes full into, like, communing with nature as kind of an optional move. Let's see.
The other like martial fighting styles aren't that crazy different. I mean, you get like blind fighting. I do like thrown weapon fighting just because I think it adds a little bit more. Like if you want to be like because people always think about rangers using either like a ton of different types of weapons, like bow and then 2 swords and then also maybe throwing things. So I think it's cool that it encourages that or allows it to be a little more viable.
I do like that they have added stuff for thrown weapon because I think before this, if anybody wanted, there was like an axe thrower build where you were basically there was an axe thrower build where people would go like Eldritch Knight in order to call back the weapon and whatnot, and then do sharpshooter for everything, which it's very, very, like that requires a couple different specific choices in order to make work, and this should make it easier. I think they're making it mostly easier for rogues, but I think it can work for every class that wants to go kind of throwing weapons. But then again, weapon actions of, is it an action to draw a weapon? I think that's different with every DM too, and you have to like kind of figure out how you want to do that.
Yeah.
The hide in plain sight was one of the worst things you could get in the game. So Nature's Veil is going to be infinitely better. You basically get to become invisible, which
as a bonus action rather than sitting there for like how long?
It was a while you had to sit there.
Yeah.
I get that they were going for like the Predator thing where
they're just going for that scene.
Yeah, and then your eyes open and you in the mud, but I think they kind of fixed it well. Is that all they changed? Yeah, that was all they changed.
No, there's another thing. I don't know if you're going to get into it or not, that they changed with the Beastmaster companions.
Yeah, I have that at the end. Let's go over some of these subclasses first.
Okay.
I think it was up to this. So yeah. So the first one was the Fey Wanderer, which I haven't seen much of this. This is different from the Swarm Keeper, which is the other one. But this basically leans into the Ranger archetype a little bit more of being like Feywild. And I am very happy that this is like the first Feywild-oriented subclass that doesn't have some random bullshit in it.
Random bullshit meaning like
a table to roll on when you do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you think that this steps on the Horizon Walker very much or not?
I don't think so, because this just goes towards the Feywild, and the Feywild is a pretty established thing in D&D lore, like different from like Planeswalker stuff. So I don't think it steps on the toes really.
Okay.
Because even like a Planeswalker would be able to get into the Feywild easier, but he wouldn't be better in it.
I was just noticing it did some of the same stuff where it's like you can like augment your weapon strikes and you deal extra psychic damage, which I know Horizon Walker was force damage, but
yeah. I think it's a little bit different. This one is a little slower to build up. And it's a little bit more defensive, honestly. A lot of stuff of like not getting charmed, preventing saving throws. You get like charisma stuff as a freebie. It's pretty much like and even then a lot of the spells are not like crazy good. The big thing is the Dreadful Strikes, I think, as a bonus that you don't have to use a bonus action for is fucking huge. Because
maybe that's a better solution to Hunter's Mark, actually, right?
Well, the thing with like Hunters is once you get going, you get a Hunter's Mark and you're able to start using your bonus action abilities. You start hitting hard at the second or third turn. And I think this will basically skip a turn where you're going to get to max damage output by your second turn, which will be pretty good.
Yeah.
The summon phase stuff is probably good. But even then, the summoning spells, people always find the best optimal thing to summon. Like when people try to summon the fairies that cast polymorph, that piss me off. So this is DM dependent shit too.
Well, also you already have access to that as a ranger anyways. It just gives it 2 extra spells. So it's like,
Plus, these guys get to just cast Misty Step a lot, which is always just a fun spell.
Yeah, Misty Step rules.
Yeah. Yeah, but other than that, like, it's cool, but it's not great. This is, like, to me, like a very average subclass.
Yeah, C+.
Now, we talk about the Swarm Keeper.
Oh, baby.
Very fucking cool. It's just, I love when they make shit
psycho.
It's just a little dumb. It's just a little dumb.
I can't help but think of Metal Gear Solid 3. Like, I think it's the first boss fight, right? The guy with the bees. He literally spits bees at you.
I'm a bee guy.
The Fury?
The pain.
No, the pain. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're a bee guy.
I love it. I love it so much.
Hey, I gotta explain my character. He's a bee guy. He's gotta love bees.
I would do exactly that. He'd be covered in stings. He would stink. He'd have red, like, just dots all over his face.
Sounds like a character I would make that you would hate. I can't believe you're making it up.
How else would you play Swarm Keeper?
That's true. I'm sure.
Personally, my guy would be wearing a full beekeeper suit with the hat and screen mask and everything.
Well, it doesn't have to be bees. You can make it whatever you want.
Yeah, you can also make it.
Cicadas.
It's only 4 things. Yeah, playful pixies.
No, that's you determine its appearance. You can make it be whatever you want. They all have the same stats, so you can make it whatever you want.
The UA one had some psycho idea where you could do fish as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd make some dandy guy with purple hair with playful pixies. Fly, my little dears, and then they like fucking eat people.
Or just a really emo goth guy surrounded by crows, and they like carry him around.
By his shirt, like
he just goes like this, and they just fly him around,
holding his t-shirt.
So the thing that's cool, I think you get a lot of battlefield control stuff, where you can move people away, which is always great for a ranger. Because the thing is too, in open ground fights, rangers can attack from like 100 feet away,
Oh my god, a spider guy. Fuck.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I would
Or
also be like the type.
snakes.
There's just so much like you just fall asleep and you're like snoring with your mouth open and spiders are crawling in and
There's
out.
so much cool shit you could do with this
Rat man.
This is easily one of the best like narrative classes wise. Yeah, you can have a rat man.
Frogs.
Yeah. You can have cats. You can just have a bunch of cats. You can do whatever.
But it is cool, like you said. There's a lot of just mobile stuff.
Yeah.
And then you'd have like Evan. You'd have Evan who'd be like, "Oh, they're just chickens. I keep them in a coop. I get eggs."
Yeah.
That's all.
So it gets some utility. I like when they give the utility with like, okay, you get this cantrip, and when you do it, it does blah blah blah. Their spell list is pretty good, honestly. Fairy Fire is always good. Gaseous Form is fun. Arcane Eye is Insect Plague you don't get for forever, but it's good. And yeah, you get flying speed. You get a lot of weird shit. It's just fun. Dude, it's just a fun one.
Writhing Tide. You can condense part of your swarm to a focused mass that lifts you up. It's so fun.
Yeah, you can just like, oh, I'm floating on my rats. My rats are taking me. They're a bunch of rats are biting into your shirt as you're just shooting arrows, and they're carrying you up a wall. It's just great.
Oh man, yeah, it's really good. I don't even know mechanically if it's like good. I don't care.
I think it's okay. It looks okay. Right. From what I'm reading, it seems like a very okay subclass. Like it's definitely not better than like the Shadow one, but it's yeah. Somebody said mosquitoes. That'd be a great one.
Centipedes.
Oh Jesus! There's a lot of shit.
You just can't. I just feel like you can't. If you're going bug, there's no way to do that sophisticated. Oh, scorpions or scarabs, like the mummy guy.
You can't go wrong. You can't. There's no.
You know what I would do? You know what? You know what I would do? I'd just do earthworms straight up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like this wave of worms carrying me everywhere.
Yeah.
Maggots.
Big fan of that one. Let's look at. I don't think they have the alternate pet options, but I have them right here.
I have them right here.
Where basically what they're trying to do is what they should have done at the beginning, and at the beginning they said, okay, you pick something out of the DM's Guide or Player's Handbook, and that's your pet. And then it also
it doesn't get multi-attack.
Yeah, it doesn't get multi-attack, so it doesn't get like standard bonuses, and you use your bonus action to command it. Which the only thing they've really kept, I feel like, is the bonus action. Every summoning class, the bonus action keeps everything going, which I think it should be.
In the normal PHB, didn't you have to use your action to attack with something with your beast though?
Yeah. Okay, so they have this here. They redid the 3rd level feature, and it's you magically summon a primal beast which draws strength from your bond with nature. It's friendly to you. You choose the stat block off of 3 things. You can choose a beast of the land, a beast of the sea, beast of the sky. Pretty obvious why they have it set up like that way. You can just choose whatever you want. They don't tell you what it looks like. You can make it up what it looks like. You can perfectly customize it to whatever you want it to be, which is the most fun of being a Beastmaster, I imagine. The whole point of it is the beast. You want the beast to be cool. It scales with you. It doesn't get extra actions. Let's see here. In combat, it acts during your turn. It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes is a dodge action unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take another. Now,
that's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
That's because that changes it, because earlier you had to stand there and you can't attack until you get 2 attacks later on. So most of the time your beast is just there for like defense purposes only. It was the weirdest shit. You weren't a Beastmaster.
Well, if you want your beast to attack more, you can sacrifice one of your attacks to have your beast attack again, which is a cool utility. That's what it is now.
You can. Right. But it was before it was really bad.
God, I just want a fucking ram that just rams into people.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. And honestly, they're
I think like I said, cleric is probably my favorite class, but I think cleric and ranger are the best classes.
Man, Ranger's been so bad for so long. I'm glad they have been throwing them some love. I agree with you about the Hunter's Mark thing, but I'll take the Beastmaster fixes over.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, for a long time, they had like a state of the meta thing on RPG Bot, and it was always the Ranger is the worst. After this, they say, we don't know what the worst is. I don't think it's the Ranger anymore. So
Yeah,
well, I mean,
like walk around
I think
and shake each other's hands. We did it, boys. Good
Yeah.
job.
I don't mean best, like I don't mean the best and like most powerful, but I think they're coolest, like with what you can do with them.
I think that
With
they
clerics,
I think the variant rules, the variant options that you can pick between one or two options when you level up in a certain class, I think that should be for everybody. I really like that, and I think in the next edition they're going to have it like you can pick this or this, you know.
Dude, Tom Sawyer got so fucking crazy though.
Well, he was a ranger, but rangers peak at like level 5. They get their whole kit at like level 5. So that's why he
was like psycho.
Yeah,
multi-classed at one point, right?
Well, like level 7, I did a level into barbarian because
might as well.
Well, no, because my hat came alive. Remember, my hat was a ghost and I broke it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and then I got fucked from that witch, so I went barbarian for a level. But
there you go.
All right, let's get to the rogue. So Swarmkeeper, Circle of Stars, Wildfire are my top. I think Twilight's up there too, actually. I would say those are my top 4 on this one so far.
I gotta say, Swarmkeeper's way up there. Wildfire's way up there. I actually really like the Way of Mercy. And if they just had renamed the Peace Cleric Love, I'm just gonna call it the Love Cleric.
Yeah, it should be the Love.
Funny. But those are mine.
All right,
those are all like A-tier classes.
So
Swarm and Way of Mercy, I really like.
So to get to the rogues, which the Rogue Phantom, the UA version was a nightmare. You could use sneak attack off of your bonus action, which was a blast of it was a lot of damage, and it was weird. And this is still a very weird subclass that's made for like a very specific type of character. Basically, you're like an undead guy that keeps coming back to life. You walk this weird line between life and death. They give you a bunch of reasons for it. You can be, from the Shadowfell. You can be from some wizard fucked you up, or you can. There's a lot of ways they give you.
So you're like a revenant,
almost? Kind of. So your abilities are kind of a little all over the place before that, but I do think that it works. This class overall works. It's not super strong. They nerfed all the worst stuff about it. And it's interesting. The thing that is weird to me is when you finish a short or long rest, you can choose a different skill or tool proficiency. And then you lose it when you start the next day. So it's almost like you're remembering your past lives and you're getting more options. Which to me, to give this to a rogue is already a little excessive because they're already
this is like a roguelike character.
Yeah, you're already good at everything. In a sense, skill-wise. You're already one of the best, and they make it better skill and tool wise, which I don't like abilities like this because I feel like they step on the other party's toes, right? It's good if you don't have somebody like that, but it's almost like the weird pissing contest that comes when you have like 2 wizard or casters that both have arcana skill,
We always talked about that when we were building parties together, is like kind of separating your skills is not only good for like the game because then you cover more ground, but it also, you're gonna have people who are slower to the draw than others, where it's like, what if your rogue walks over and does the arcana check rather than like the wizard? Just, I mean, the wizard's probably going to be better at it, but the rogue is probably going to be more quick to say it. I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
And it's always annoying when like, you have a guy that's built for athletics and athletics only, and he can't get the door open. And then the rogue with a +2 comes and swings it open.
Does it?
Yeah. So It's a little bit, I think, from a gameplay point, like a bad idea, but it's not weak in the slightest. It's very strong.
Yeah.
Because you get to choose what it is. I think it would be cooler if it was like random, but then again, that's just more rolling, and rolling is the worst part of D&D.
Yeah, I could see this one being sort of fun. I wish that, again, this goes back to what we were saying at the beginning, is like, I wish this seems more like a background than a class.
Yeah.
But it does kind of look cool. Like, you can do all this stuff with this. The soul tokens are really neat. Tokens of the departed, where you're actually like, I feel like you're one of those people, if you kill somebody, you're putting like coins on their eyes or something. Like, that's kind of neat.
Yeah. Whales from the Grave is good, and later on at high levels it's going to be amazing. Because once your sneak attack gets like 46, you're going to be really fucking people up with that. Again, it depends on you landing it. but it's not. It's a strong ability. It's a class defining ability, but it's not OP. I don't think it is. Rogues are kind of built to be rogues and rangers. I feel like are from a design standpoint, they thought these guys will be the kings of like single target damage.
Yeah,
and this is kind of branches out from that a little bit, which I think is good. Also because it's situational. You have to have somebody. If you're fighting one boss, it does nothing, you know? So it has a downside to it, which I think is a good ability built in. The soul trinket thing is new. They didn't have that in the UA. But I do like it. It's a way of like moving stories along because a lot of times you'll be like, oh, okay, we'll keep a guy alive and interrogate him. Now you really don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But it also empowers you a little bit. Because
I think it's cool when you like the same thing with like necromancers or even the circle of spores when there's like something extra you can do to like a defeated foe. I just think that's neat for some reason.
Yeah, and I do like that a lot of the death-oriented classes can do stuff like that. The spectral form stuff, I think that's a great 13th level ability for a rogue to like go through walls or stuff like that. Not walls. I think it says you can move through objects, but still, like
in people.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would be able to. I think it's a good ability, especially for a rogue.
I like how you stay in that form for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The fuck.
It'd be cool if you stayed in there too long, like something would happen to you.
I think Phantom overall is pretty solid. I don't think it's for something that I expected to be as edgelordy. It's not very.
It's for depending on how someone is role playing, it could really lend itself to their character.
All right, Joel.
It's definitely it's a role play class to me.
I'll let you handle the soul knife too,
like,
Joel.
But you could do that. You could do that role playing stuff like with a regular rogue too. I don't know. It's like
that's why it feels kind of like a background.
Right.
Oh
yeah.
Before we do this, there's one optional class feature for the rogue that's super important. They get something called steady aim, which as long as they don't move, they get advantage on their next attack roll, which is amazing because it means you get your sneak attack damage from range more reliably. Because if you have advantage, you can do sneak attack roll. So this really helps ranged rogues. I think this makes ranged rogues very viable.
Yeah.
Soul Knife. Impressions, Joel, before we go through it?
I've liked it so far. We had to have some conversations about it because it was UA. So just for those of you who don't know, Elliot is playing Jin in Out of the Abyss, which we're making a podcast of called the Chicago Table. Where we're at Studios is what we're calling like the bigger umbrella project, but he's playing a soul knife. He started with the UA and then he switched over to Tasha's stuff. It's really similar, save for Brains, what you were talking about with the dice kind of going up and down in size. They got rid of that and simplified it a little bit more where you just can lose like a die if it doesn't, or if it succeeds. It doesn't feel like overly strong. The only thing that I was really surprised by was psychic whispers. You can speak up to a creature within a mile. And you can do that like level 3. So that's pretty early to have like a mile long free, like not even a message or anything else. You can just talk to them forever. That was the one that surprised me. But I didn't feel like there was no reason to really like.
Well, it says here for a number of hours equal to the number rolled.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like one message. You can have entire conversations, you know? Like even having that for an hour without like, can you imagine like if there's a wizard spell
was he
at that
using
level?
one of his psionic energy die or rolling one of his psionic energy die for it?
Yeah. It just surprised me because like I was like, well, he's pretty far back. He's like, well, I can do it within a mile. I was like, Jesus. And I'm like, how long does that last? And he rolled it. He's like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to think in my head. I was thinking like, could a wizard even come close to casting that at level 3?
Calling her, you up? A mile away. What you doing?
My soul knife boyfriend won't stop fucking talking to me in my head.
Yeah, and then the hours run out, and then he says, "Damn, I want her."
It's going.
No, but it's been cool. I mean, lots of it is around these psychic blades that, come from their hands, kind of like a X-Men Psylocke type of thing. And then they just do extra damage on top of the the sneak attack that can already happen, which is fine because it's like that's what they do. That's their main thing.
Yeah.
And it does have more of a thrown property to it, so you can throw them, and then they sort of just like come back. Actually, they don't even come.
So they're just one of the X-Men.
Yeah, it's very X-Men like.
Yeah.
But they've been really trying.
They
to
didn't
shove,
think
like,
rogues were edgy enough.
Yeah, they were trying to find ways to put psychic stuff into 5e, which I have. I don't know why it needs to be there, but I guess it was there, so people want it there. And I think this is the best way I've seen it done so far.
Yeah,
personally.
I do think this is better than the fighter, which is just like a list of tools. This is almost just reinforces what rogues are good at. Where if you fail, you can use a psionic energy thing. It doesn't feel like you're like a Jedi.
Yeah, and I think that Elliot does a good job with it too, because we agreed that like there's something going on with Jin where she has like DID, or like just disassociates and has like multiple personalities living within her, which is where she draws her psychic powers from, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, I just have psychic ability, but eventually he'll be able to teleport around. He's not quite there yet. We're only at level 6, I think.
Yeah.
You can go from one place to another after like you throw one of your blades, which is cool. And then eventually I think you can become invisible.
Yeah, at level 9.
Using a 13.
It's a good subclass because it's stylistically cool. There's a lot of things you can do with it, and it reinforces what rogues are already good at. Ensuring
it adds a little more flavor, just a little bit of like otherworldly flavor to it. So.
Ensures you get, mechanically speaking, it just works really hard to ensure that you get your sneak attack damage off, and then it gives you a list of utilities after that. But even then, it doesn't seem overpowered at all.
No, the only thing that really caught me off guard was that original thing at 3rd level with the talking, like the messaging across a mile.
Yeah.
Psychic whispers. That's the only thing that threw me off. But even then, I was like, fuck it. Like, I don't really care.
And they're level 17. I know we haven't talked much about the high level abilities because most of the time they don't come into effect, but it's a pretty cool one. Ren Mine.
Yeah, where you can actually
like stun them for,
cause them to do a wisdom saving throw.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
They stun, yeah. And stunning a target fucking rules. Like, stunning strike is one of the best moves in the game. So.
Yeah.
This is really late game, but also you're doing it from a melee or a range distance because you're throwing your blade probably. So
yeah, and then again, they do a lot of cool stuff. I think the rogue doesn't get as much as a lot of other classes do, like the fighter or the ranger get, but they're still up there. And stylistically, I would say both of their classes, there's a lot you can do with. I just don't think it's designed as well as a lot of the other ones are.
Yeah, man. I think it was someone earlier in chat talking about how shitty the character art is in Tasha's, and they are not wrong. Oof.
Yeah.
That is bad. But yeah, it's good. I
wish they would just do like more whole page spreads instead of like little character gimmicks and what like that. Because when they do like art, like I think like in Mordenkainen's, there's a lot of like full page art that's amazing.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so the sorcerer gets a lot of love in this one, particularly from the they get a shitload of new spells. They get a lot of the melee spells, but they also get like Mind Sliver, which is a new one that like it's a very low damage spell that makes them have disadvantage on it's a cantrip that helps give people like disadvantage on saving throws and whatnot. It does like 1d4
I didn't realize they got that many more spells. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. A lot of the melee ones they get, like Green Flame Blade, Booming Blade. So I don't think that they make it so that like you can build a melee sorcerer. Because I don't think they want that. The original Divine Soul Sorcerer was a melee sorcerer.
Do you think they're doing it for more like multi-classing reasons?
I think they're just giving people more options. I don't think they purposely design anything to be multi-class.
Okay.
But so they get 2 new meta magic spells, which is Seeking Spells, which is essentially just a reroll. 2 sorcery points, you get a reroll, which is huge. It doesn't sound like a lot, but for real, like Finger of Death or something, fucking enormous to just get a reroll for 2 sorcery points. It's huge. Transmuted lets you change the damage type, which is very good too, because for stuff like Fireball, changing it to ice or cold if you're facing a bunch of stuff, it's just situationally good stuff that they get for free.
It's cool, but it goes back to what we were saying too. I wish there were more weaknesses and vulnerabilities,
Yeah.
But I still think it's neat, like you were saying, like shooting Fireball and using a Poison Ball. It's just cool.
Another thing they did for every caster class here that's like a variant rule that everyone's good. When you level up, you can change your cantrips now. It used to be your cantrips are locked in, but I don't think that's like matters too much. And then they get a lot of stuff for re-rolling. The optional level 5 feature is when you make an ability check that fails, you can spend 1 sorcery point to re-roll the d20. Well, I guess that's for defensive stuff, but still, that's a great defensive ability. Just re-roll. It's good because it gives you some options that wizards don't have. It makes you seem more well-rounded than like a wizard would be, which I think is the right move for a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Let's go to Aberrant Mind, which is that's Unearthed Arcana one.
No, Aberrant Mind is one.
Yeah, but I clicked on the Unearthed Arcana one, which I think is cool because the Far Realm is a really interesting thing they have in the lore, where it's just never really explained because it's just this weird, caustic other world. Corndog Millionaire, yeah, we talked about removing set racial bonuses and stuff. It's just pretty much, yeah, it's a good idea. There's not much to it. I don't think it's going to break anything. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. It'll help min-maxers, but, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway. Go ahead.
You were talking about Aberrant Mind being like from Far Realm, and I feel like I like that idea too, and I know they're trying to go for more psionic stuff here as well. It doesn't quite feel like you're doing a different class.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like what you're describing now. If you were touched by something in the Far Realm and it did something to your mind and it allowed you to just do different things with like your psionic ability, it just doesn't feel like it's there.
I would say I disagree a little bit because they give you so much flavor through your new sorcerer spell. Sorcerers never got a huge spell list, which was always weird to me. And this is the only... I'm not sure if the Clockwork does. I think Clockwork does, but they never gave sorcerer subclasses their own spell list before. And this is a lot of really cool thematic stuff, even like detect thoughts and stuff like that. It really works into the psionic thing a lot, especially as you kind of level up with it. They get the telepathic speech thing, which is, I think, the exact same one the Soul Knife get.
But a lot of these are already on the sorcerer spell list.
What, like detect thoughts and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's on there. Yeah.
Summon aberration and stuff like that?
Well, I don't know about that. That sounds a bit psycho. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of these are already on there.
But I do think everything gets amplified a little bit because of the cantrip Mind Sliver. It really helps you doing, like, to sacrifice one of your turns to almost do a cantrip, because sorcerers can blast, and they can keep blasting, and they have a bigger resource pool than a lot of people.
You could use your, what's it called? Your meta magic to cast a cantrip as a bonus action.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So you can even do that and then just load it up.
I really like the description under Revelation Flesh. The flying speed, how you're covered in mucus or you shine with an otherworldly light.
Yeah. You can choose which one you do, and you just they do a good job of making the Far Realm a bunch of different things. It's this far away like Cthulhu thing, and every once in a while it'll be this gutter aberration thing where you're covered in slime and mucus and you're mutating. They do a good job of like making it weird.
Some Cronenberg shit. You're just like,
but I think this is a really solid, really strong subclass. I think they get a good spell list. They get a good list of things, and I think it won't play that much different from a regular sorcerer. And
I guess that's my complaint then.
The UA one was a lot stronger because you got basically a free mage armor, you got a free bunch of stuff. But having advantage on being like charmed and frightened at a low level, being able to cast your psionic spells with sorcery points, and that the main difference, I think, that you'll notice this play different is that sorcerers would be one of the only classes that would be able to cast spells with no verbal or somatic components. So if you're talking to somebody, you would be able to cast a spell without them noticing.
But that's a meta magic thing, right?
Subtle magic does it, but this one does it for free without because if you cast a psionic spell, which is on the list they gave you, you're able to do it. No one knows it comes from you without having to cast meta magic in addition.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, it's kind of hidden in there, but I think it's one of the coolest things about it. And then the Clockwork Soul is cool too, because this is all about order, but not as much as like the order domain tell everyone what to do stuff. Whereas
it's more about the big picture order in terms of like the alignment chart, right?
Yeah, you're just fixing like shit.
Yeah.
The spell list is good. It's very like kind of neutral. It's a good mixture of like aid and like helping people out and like preventing, I guess, preventing. It's like counter magic. It's like a lot of stuff that's defensive and freeing yourself.
God, you can make a really steampunky guy with this shit.
Oh man, I can't wait. I haven't leaned into that enough yet.
The restore balance is extremely good. You can just prevent advantage or disadvantage. You don't give each other stuff, but if somebody has advantage on you and your guy's really fucked, you can just no thank you. It fixes. Oh, go ahead.
Or if your other player, like a fellow player, has advantage, could you just take that away?
Yeah.
Just to be a dick?
Yeah, just no. But also, if one of your party members is attacking the bad guy and he has disadvantage because of whatever, you can just say nope, it's good. And stuff like that's a very simple way of like giving a lot of different options.
Well, I like that too because that does seem really, really thematically like true.
Just going like, huh?
Yeah.
No. And you take it away.
That's all the lawful stuff seems to be. The domain one is the order domain is a lot of telling people what to do. This one is a lot more of like just setting things back to
just doing it and setting it up.
Would this character wear like I don't know, glasses?
Monocle maybe, or tiny little glasses.
Yeah. Okay. Would they
or a monocle that can go zoom in and out in a top hat? And his name was like Dr. Oswald Pocket Clock.
He'd be reminding people not to slurp their soup.
Your names are fine, but your last names are always just like you're leading into a good first name, and your last name's just bashing it on the nose, just slamming it in there. What was it? Soul Reaver or something?
Yeah,
just
Star Reaver. Star Reaver.
And this guy's name is Oswald Pocket Clock.
What's the problem?
He's a loser. Sounds like a loser. So if you're gonna make a character, he's gonna be a nerd. This is the nerd. This is the biggest nerd character.
No, not as big as Artificer, but
oh yeah, that's true. But even then, they can do Artificer. They made an Iron Man Artificer, so he doesn't have to be a nerd.
I just picture Phileas Fogg from fucking Around the World in 80 days, like twirling a mustache.
Mr. Megorium's Magic Emporium.
Fuck.
Yeah, the Bastion of Law thing is really good with the ward.
You're just Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
My Oompa Loompas will help.
The Bastion of Law is really good as like a yeah, it's really good. You're basically a support. This is a support class that doesn't heal, which is always welcome. Because support class, just having them heal and being support is always easy. I feel like they're branching out a little bit to have more interesting support classes. Yeah, other than that, I do like sorcerers get a really cool capstone ability at like level 18 where they can just go nuclear. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't give every fucking subclass that, but whatever.
I still think if they do like a 5.5 or a 6E, they could wrap the sorcerer and the wizard into one class and then have a bunch of different branches that you can kind of go about and make your own sort of like
yeah, I agree with that.
From like I don't know what I would call it. Like you could call it either one, wizard or sorcerer. I just feel like they're trying to find a way to make a sorcerer work and this helps a lot, I think.
Yeah.
But just put them together and then let people choose.
Just get rid of the spell slot things for sorcerer. Give them sorcery points.
Yeah.
Just something mechanically different. Let's go to the warlocks. There's a lot of invocations. I'm not going to cover them because honestly we've gone a lot longer than I thought I have. So we'll just do the subclasses and fart that out. Fathomless is really cool. I think it's a cool one. I like it. You just like you like Cthulhu, big squids, krakens. You're basically obsessed with like the deep ocean.
Yeah.
You're a water guy. And
you fuck mermaids.
You got a tentacle, and it's gonna hit some shit. As like you're always.
Imagine how this guy smells all the time.
It's essentially spiritual weapon. You get a near permanent spiritual weapon that's gonna go around slapping people for free. You can't target it. You can't dispel it. It's just gonna be.
I like how fast you can swim and breathe underwater right at level 1.
Yeah. No, I like it when they front load a lot of the stuff like that.
You're Kevin Costner in Waterworld. You have gills and shit.
Well, I was gonna say the lamest thing you can do is to play like an already underwater creature. You got to make somebody who hates the land and they just love the water, but they live on the land. Like, and they made this pact with just somebody they're reading about in a book.
Something like a race that cannot be good at swimming, like fucking
like an Aarakocra, a Tabaxi,
Loxodon.
Loxodon, yeah. And eventually his trunk turns into a tentacle.
Oh god, yeah, that's a little much.
I'd be a little goblin.
You get good resistances. Your spell list is pretty dog shit till the 3rd level spells come in, and you get lightning bolt. You'll get cone of cold, sentiment elemental. You'll get a lot of cool shit later on, but creator destroy water has always been like a real boring one. Thunderwave's okay, but like you always have better options than that.
I would say Silence and Sleet Storm are pretty good though.
Yeah, that's true. Sleet Storm is one of the best area control ones, but honestly, if you got 2 spells to use and you have Lightning Bolt, you're gonna fucking Lightning Bolt.
Depends, man.
Yeah, well, maybe.
I'm gonna use Lightning Bolt. You're right.
Yeah, you get resistance to cold damage pretty early on. Any creature that is fully submerged in water can understand what you're saying.
Well, I really like this class.
You get the Aquaman thing. Yeah.
Because everyone was talking about the genie, but I like this one more than the genie, actually.
Yeah, I think the genie has a lot of cool elements to it. Basically, I think that people like you can hide in your little lamp. I think that's...
I like that. I like that, too.
God, it's so Joel. Fuck.
What, hide in my wine bottle?
Oh, Jesus, yeah. If you reflavored this one to be about wine...
Well, the Fathomless or the genie?
The Fathomless. Or the genie. You could do both of them.
I'm going to release an extra content for everybody.
Yeah, Jesus.
Where I just take every class and every subclass and reflavor it as wine.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use your reaction and reduce damage. This is just a very good all-around class. It's not meant to be like a blaster. It's not meant to be like an area control. It's just kind of good at everything. It can help a little. It gives you some defense. It gives you a lot of flavor. You know, the cool thing is the Avard's Black Tentacles, you get a lot from that too, which I don't remember how strong this was. I know it's like a 4th level. Yeah, this is the 3d6 area one, which is really good area control at level 10, especially combined with your tentacle. And you get a free spell on it. This combined with a lot of the Warlock invocations is really good, because a lot of the Warlock invocations, that's true, it does free you up from using the bonus action on Hex and all that. Yeah, this one has it's a very solid class. Like, it's an all-around solid class that you don't see put together that often. Good spell list, good flavor, good everything. I think this is one of the top ones. I think this is
I agree.
I think it's at the top.
My thing is like all about everything kind of coming together and making like good theme, fun mechanics, and like this is one that does it really well.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
All right, the genie. The genie is fun because, first of all, you get to choose an element. I do like it when they lean in on the elemental themed stuff, because they really haven't done that well for any other subclass of like having like a pyromancer or giving people options. The closest they got was that barbarian that can like do the cold, the heat, or the sea. And
well, you should be rewarded for like choosing, like not rewarded, but it's up to you to be like, oh, I only use fire spells. I only use these kind of spells.
Which you can viably do in 5e. You just have to get the elemental adept feat.
Yeah.
Yep. The Genie's Vessel is fun. The spell list.
Oh wow, there's spell lists are pretty good too.
Yeah.
Oh, you get Fireball.
You get Fireball only if you go into the fire one,
Right, a freebie, but
which you don't get. They are not all created equal. The Earth ones are very tanky and weird.
I like the vessel stopper to bottle. That's a wine bottle with a cork in it.
Yeah. But you basically get it. It's kind of similar to the Circle of Dreams Druid, where you could just chill out in your little sanctuary, except you can do it with the bottle, which is great if you're like a paranoid player and are always thinking you're going to get attacked in your sleep. It's also great if you're like a low level and you have to camp out on a road that bandits are at or whatever, and you have to have somebody keep watch, which is like,
hey, watch my little lamp.
Yeah,
make sure no one fucks with it.
Hey, I'm gonna sleep in my lamp.
Cover it in dirt so no one finds it, please.
Now, Genie's Wrath is the thing that makes it really good. You get a lot of free damage that will be like +4, but it's every turn, and you don't have to do something for it. So it's just free without putting anything on your action economy or anything.
Does that count if you like do like an Eldritch Blast?
Yes. So
it's an attack roll.
It makes Eldritch Blast even better. I don't think it does. I don't think it adds to every single hit of Eldritch Blast, because if it did, that would be insane. That would be like +40, 10 plus.
It says once during each of your turns.
Oh, okay. So, I see that. Because if that didn't, that would be insane. But even when you're talking about any type of spell, that's going to be so much more damage over time.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it scales well. It's not going to do that much at like super high levels.
And it's first level?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, that's very good. Level 6 resistance is fucking excellent. The Earth one, where you get resistance to bludgeoning, is a little weird because it's a very specific type of physical damage most people don't keep track of. Even if you ask your DM, is it slashing, piercing, bludgeoning, half the time they have to check. So that's kind of been a forgotten thing in D&D, but I think it matters here because there are some spells that do bludgeoning damage.
You'd pay attention to it, though, if there was something there like that. Which would be fine, probably.
Flying speed for free for 10 minutes. Pretty good. You can use it a lot.
They really did hand out a bunch of flying.
Yeah, they did. This is pretty... Even at level 6, you get a lot of really strong stuff at level 6. I honestly... As a blaster, as a utility guy, it might be very, very good. You do get some utility. You get some damage. Level 10, you can have everybody kind of party in there with you. You get a free kind of short rest. This is like another Warlock class where they really just kind of went with the thematic of it instead of the combat niche of it. And I think it made for a well-balanced class, like a really cool class that has a lot of stuff to it.
When you go into your vessel, is your patron there?
No. They did have a thing where you could talk to your guy. Where is it?
A limited wish.
The last one at level 14, limited wish. You make a wish, he gives you any spell.
Oh yeah, it used to. I remember the Unearthed Arcana. I think it was a lot easier to go like hang out. You go to your guy's realm, and you had to like present. It was a lot. This was a lot more treasure oriented in the UA because I think you had to present like you had to pay your guy, your genie, basically to help you with stuff. Which could be an interesting mechanic. I kind of wish
I could see why they took it out, but because there's nothing else like it. But it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Neat.
And then, the limited wish is huge, man.
Yeah.
Especially since you can cast spells off of somebody else's list is enormous.
Well, I mean, just not having to use one of your fucking spell slots as a Warlock. That's obviously the biggest problem with the class.
Yeah.
Not problem, but like weakness.
I was hoping they would have a section that they added stuff from Tasha's, but let's just look at it real quick. I'll go over it real quick. Yeah, it seems like in a lot of the new invocations, I feel like the invocations were pretty well balanced beforehand, but I think this is cool. They give a new pact boon, which is the talisman, which is a lot about almost having constant guidance on yourself. Not constants, but equal. You can use it a number of times up to your proficiency bonus on ability checks. So it was a lot more kind of utility than like some of the other packs will be that were like offensive or having a familiar or whatnot. They have an optional class feature that gives them the ability to swap out different mystic arcanums and different cantrips, which everybody kind of gets. And then they get a lot of more summoning spells that they didn't have that they introduced kind of in this, and then they get a lot of the melee abilities like Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade, and they even get that new Mind Sliver cantrip, which is going to be very helpful on people.
Yeah, especially for a Warlock again, since they have to rely on cantrips so heavily.
All right, well, there's a lot of new stuff that's made for different types of Warlocks, because there's a lot of general Warlock invocations in the first one. They had about 7 of them. A lot of stuff with helping familiars if you do Pact of the Chain. A lot of stuff with Pact of the Tome that what was that? You can magically erase a name. Oh, okay. Well, Gift of the Protectors, you can prevent people from being like outwardly killed and stuff like that. It's a lot of newer stuff that's more interesting versus like and a lot of stuff that's almost missing from classes. Like they have some pact invocations that are specific with Pact of the Undying, the Necromancer one that everyone thinks is one of the weakest subclasses in the game. All right, let's get to the last one, Wizards.
Cool. There's not a ton on this one either.
No, because they don't really add that much. Blade Singing is the big one that they kind of reworked.
Yeah, they just made it like non-elf, right?
Yeah. They gave all the wizards the exact same spells that everybody got. Honestly, they get the most ones. Wizards get like every spell, which I'm cool with. You can rearrange your cantrips whenever you want, but honestly, they don't even get any optional features. All they get is that they can change your cantrips. Blade Singing, they completely reworked, I believe. Yeah. Proficiency with light armor, you get weapons, you get the blade song. You still are very, very vulnerable. You're still like very weak, but you get the huge AC bonus. And the big thing is you gain a bonus to any Constitution saving throw on your intellect modifier. I do not believe they had that before. So your concentration is pretty locked in. You have decent armor. It lasts a minute. And I believe they made it so you can use it more.
Like more often.
Yeah. Because I believe they only had like second things, like 2 levels you could do it at. It's a bonus action, so it's easy to get into, and you can use it the amount of times your proficiency bonus. So yeah, it's still like a going nuclear type thing. You get your extra attack at level 6. Later on, you get the ability to absorb more damage with the Song of Defense, stuff like that. But still, you're just going to be a glass cannon.
Which is fine. I mean, again, I like any time that they sort of try to find a way that intelligence can be used differently.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool that they had this like only for elves, but to go along with everything else they're doing in Tasha's, I think it's fine. Like I don't really care. If someone wants to play a blade singing orc, like cool, that's whatever.
Yeah. The big thing is the Song of Defense. At 10th level, you can use your reaction to spend a spell slot to reduce damage. That way. Because I think the problem was everyone would die with like fucking 7 spells still in the chamber.
Oh, just no other way to spend them because they were using their actions to attack and shit.
But basically, if you're the type of person that wants to play a Blade Singer, I don't think the mechanics of it are going to stop you. I think you just want to be. I think it's just a cool thing.
Yeah, it's the closest they have to what they call like the Gish, like the battle mage type of build.
Yeah, it's either you go that or like Eldritch Knight, and it's never going to have that much between it. The Order of Scribes I do think is very cool though.
I think so too.
It kind of goes a little bit away from the spellbook stuff, even though they've designed the wizard around the spellbook stuff, but nobody I know likes it or does it that well. Everybody just kind of figures out a way to settle it to make it easier. But with this one, you get a shitload of utility. I'm kind of bummed they didn't do the name-based wizard. What was that one called? Onomancy or something?
Onomancy, yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool one, but I think it might be a little bit much for the average player.
Yeah, this takes elements of that though, doesn't it?
A little
like
bit.
When it comes to like writing things down, like it's like wasn't it easier to copy things if you're an onomancer?
Yeah. With this one, you're able to like kind of temporarily replace damage types that they do a lot. You're able to cast rituals really quick, which is a utility thing that's really cool. And I like that wizards only get it because they're supposed to be the best at it. The quill thing, I don't even know how much flavor you can get from that. They're like, the quill doesn't require ink. It's like, oh, I didn't even think about ink.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense if you're stuck somewhere and that's all you have is your quill. I could see that. Like, I think that's fine.
Yeah,
You can erase anything that you wrote. Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
like, that's pretty important.
And it makes you faster at transcription, but still that transcription thing that's like whatever. The Awakened spellbook I do like because you can use the book as like your spellcasting focus, and you get to change the damage types, which is just I'm great. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
The Manifest Mind has a lot of uses. I feel like there's so much stuff you can do with the Manifest Mind.
Yeah, it kind of seems like one of the main things of the class.
Oh, Brait said that with the Blade Singer that you can cast a cantrip with one of the extra attacks, which would actually be way stronger than.
Yeah, especially if they get this shit that you were talking about earlier. That's like a lot more on the expend.
So you can do a Firebolt for 4d10 and then do your attack.
Well, they get Mind Sliver as well, along with Green Flame Blade and all these. So,
That's true.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade are very, very strong if you build for them as cantrips. Typically, like even a lot of those Trickster rogues will only use that and get their sneak attack procced off that and do enormous damage. Arcane Trickster is one of the highest damage classes in the game, I feel like.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because you get to do Booming Blade for, if you're level 11, 3D, whatever. And in addition to your sneak attack damage, which will proc. And Booming Blade specifically because you attack people with it, and then they take damage if they move, and you're able to disengage as a rogue with your bonus action.
That's true. Yeah, Spectral Mind or Manifest Mind has a ton of different applications.
Yeah, that's what I really like. It challenges the player to be creative.
Yeah.
The fact of creating a scroll for other people to use is always great because how many times do you split the party when you're trying to do something complicated and then you can have another tool ready for somebody? It's just something that works. The Wizard subclasses have always been kind of underwhelming to me because so much of their power is built into their core class.
Yeah.
But
that's why there's so many of them, kind of like the cleric, sort of. Yeah.
These are all very like solid abilities. High level stuff doesn't matter as much, but the scribes, it doesn't change that much, but what it does change is solid. I just think the problem with the wizard isn't the subclasses. It's the fact that the subclasses don't have very much power built into them because you already have some of the most powerful spells available.
Yeah, and I think the book is, like you were saying, kind of weird. Like, I get that they're trying to find a way to give magic users, like, to collect equipment, kind of like you collect weapons as a martial class. It is just sometimes feels like overly punitive where you have to pay like 50 gold, is it, to copy down a spell? Like, it's a lot, but I don't really see the wizard having too many problems. It's got such a huge spell list. You can already kind of build what you want.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I'm gonna call it there. Gone 3.5. It went way longer than I thought we would.
Yeah. Can I do a quick plug?
Yeah. Do your plug.
So again, we're doing a new D&D podcast called Where We're At Studios. We're doing the Chicago table right now, but pretty soon Branson's going to DM.
Me and Oki.
yeah, you and Oki, we're trying to do a co-DM thing so we can kind of like get other NPCs involved and like not put all the responsibility on one DM, because that sucks if you have to like prep a bunch of shit. You know, it's like basically another job sometimes. And so Branson and Oki are going to DM a one shot for us that will kick off a series of one shots that we're going to take characters probably from like 1 through 20. Just a bunch of ridiculous one shots. Then we're going to publish all those notes that we've compiled and put them on a Patreon. So if you want them, you can have them. And yeah, that should be starting in the next couple of weeks probably. But if not, we released free episodes of the Chicago Table, just our like actual play Out of the Abyss right now on Mondays. So check that out.
Andrew, you want to plug anything?
Buy Branson's book.
Oh yeah,
listen to E1.
Water Wasted. Buy it from an independent bookstore. Everyone told me. I got sent a bunch of messages that said your book's sold out on Amazon. Well, don't buy it on Amazon. Fuck Amazon.
Yeah, buy it from Rare Bird. It looks like this. I haven't read it yet.
Or even from Rare Bird, if you don't find it there, buy it straight from an independent bookstore if you know one.
Yeah, go to Walmart.
I don't think they have it at Walmart.
No, they definitely don't.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm getting off. Everyone, thanks for sitting there. If you sat through the whole thing, you're that's amazing. But everybody else have a good one. I'm getting off. I'm gonna go eat dinner. Watch
Good night.
the Chicago Table.